Chapter 5747. But the ancestor Yanlong was not surprised. He was not led by that touching tenderness, and his eyes were kind and respectful. But in his mind, he recalled that era. When the current Empress Fengchen was still an immortal, he had not changed much from that time. It's all robbery. When I first saw this country lord, the other party was still a little girl. When I saw each other for the second time, Empress Fengchen and her were already inseparable friends. The last time I saw him, the other party begged him with tears. See now, has been treated respectfully. Your Majesty! Yanlong ancestor stood up to meet him. Jian Wushuang and Jin Chen behind him also bowed to see each other. Jian Wushuang secretly rejoiced in his heart and waited for the Lord to call him. But the Lord of the Kingdom approached, but he said indifferently, Uncle Yanlong, this one next to you? With tenderness in her eyes, she was moved when she saw the figure. Staring at the figure behind Yanlong ancestor, her eyes became even more beautiful. Many people were amazed. They didn't expect this humble ancestor Yanlong to be able to talk to the daughter of the kingdom who had just broken through. If it's polite, it's fine. But now it has just appeared, putting aside the iron guts, and going to talk to a sixth tribulation realm powerhouse. Many people envy it. It doesn't matter if Taiden waits, he is not affected by any influence, and still sits firmly on the throne. When the time came, the blood knife ancestor on the side swallowed, but he did not lose his mind. But the red-haired young man behind him stared blankly, and his saliva was about to flow out. Fortunately, the blood knife ancestor reminded privately that there was no shame. Otherwise, wait for everyone to react and see this scene, thinking that the people in the blood-clothed door have never seen a woman. Let's talk about Yanlong ancestor's side. After Jian Wushuang heard that sentence, his head was dizzy, thinking that he was talking about himself, thinking of the sweet voice. He was overjoyed in his heart, and he straightened up and introduced himself. Unexpectedly, the country lord at this time stepped forward, grabbed Jin Chen's raised hand, and said softly, really like Fengchen. Jian Wushuang's mind kept surging and finally, driven by Dao Xian, he gradually returned to normal. At this time, I also thought of the matter of the Empress Fengchen and the daughter of the country leader, and it became clear. Don't live up to it. Jian Wushuang slapped himself fiercely from the bottom of his heart. Dao Xin returned to the cold state again. Jin Chen didn't know what was going on and was taken aback. But when he touched the Lord with both hands, there was a warm feeling in the bottom of my heart. Innate goodwill. The ancestor Yanlong looked awkward on the side, then glanced at Jian Wushuang again, with sadness in his eyes. Your mother is okay, the daughter of the country leader asked softly. Jin Chen replied cleverly, everything is fine, but this time I'm in retreat and I don't have time to come. She is still so strong. This sentence is very ambiguous. Jian Wushuang smiled at the side. I am afraid that only he and Yanlong ancestors know the inside story. By the way, this is a gift my mother asked me to give to your Majesty. Jin Chen thought of the scroll at this time, and quickly took out the scroll with a hand and handed it to the other party. Upon seeing this, the daughter of the country lord looked happy, and carefully took the scroll. This gift is the most precious. She is also very happy. Then I found that all eyes were on them, the corners of the eyes were smiling, and I apologized. I will let you all wait a long time. After that, he said to Jin Chen, you guys will go later, and I have something to give to your mother. Then he touched Jin Chen's small head and drifted away. The moment she fell into the dominant position, the aura on her body also changed from gentle to majestic. But the smile on his face still didn't have any deterrent effect, and some were just endless warmth. Start. With countless gifts given, you can have a few words with this country's lord. The last is preaching. Jian Wushuang, an emperor, also listened very carefully. Although he didn't understand many of them, he also benefited a lot. This time the receipt exceeded his expectations. Even for some things he still wanted to ask which country lord himself. Just his identity. Maybe you can use Jin Chen's identity to talk to the other party for a few words. His current supernatural power has reached 400,000. Under normal circumstances, it is stronger than eternal changes. Now he urgently needs to merge the divine power with the eternal transformation. The power of the starry sky no longer only increases the original source, but also increases the divine power. In this way, the eternal change will once again become stronger. At that time, his strength will skyrocket. It's just that now he only has this idea, but he can't figure out how to do it. If one or two of the countries Lord pointed him, he might be able to find a way to make a breakthrough. Normally 400,000 supernatural powers can reach 500,000 supernatural powers when using the power of the beast to reach the limit state. It is very difficult for him to achieve this combat power now that he is performing eternal changes. But if it can connect to the divine power, the two increase each other. His combat power may be able to fight the 5 tribulations realm, and it is not a problem with the original Dylan battle. In the holy meeting, there must be a fight. At that time, he is an emperor, and it is difficult for him to play a key role. Now he can't directly become the master of the universe, and can only seek to create a secret method to increase his combat power. The congratulatory ceremony lasted for several days. Some forces that have a good relationship with the daughter country will not want to go away, and they want to see the master alone again. Jian Wushuang and others naturally stayed. Old ancestor, can you talk about the original country lord and mother's queen? Jin Chen took Yanlong ancestor, wanting to hear the story of the original mother queen and this country lord. Yanlong ancestor's complexion was pulled. I don't know what to say. Empress Feng Qin didn't tell her daughter about this. Obviously she didn't want Jin Chen to know about it. But this time I asked Jin Chen to come, but I wanted to make my daughter befriend this super existence. The abacus is very good. Jian Wushuang sighed with emotion. In the situation of Yugua, I had to choose this way. The ancestor Yanlong hit the Mandarin ducks, but he still came here with a cheeky. In the face of absolute strength, everything can be put down. The female emperor at the time gave up her love for strength. Now for the sake of Yugua, he put down his face again. The two shouldn't be in contact anymore. Although the ancestor Yanlong couldn't hang on his face, he was still happy. If the Yu country can hold the thigh of the daughter country, it will be a lot more stable in the future. Be regarded as a strong and reliable ally. The three of them were arranged in a different courtyard by the people of the daughter country. The layout of the courtyard is very ordinary and very warm. There is a tree full of peach blossoms and a well. Next to the tree is a small pavilion. The three of them sat in it, and Jian Wushuang sat in the middle to make tea. He was not curious. The ancestor Yanlong definitely wouldn't talk about this kind of thing, so he didn't ask it from beginning to end. Chapter 5748. Waiting for the daughter of the country master to arrive. And this time, he was not in Shigua's team, and seeing Fan Tianfeng, he probably didn't come. It is a pity. It seems that I can only pray that I will not meet her in Shigua. Jian Wushuang thought so in his heart. In accordance with the plan, he was going to leave now. But the relationship between the female emperor and the Yu country was more unusual than he thought. Just wait a while. Originally thinking, which empress must have a conversation with those powerful powerhouses first, but did not expect them to enter the small courtyard with their front feet, just soaking a pot of tea, the other party will come. The daughter of the country master. From the congratulations, Jian Wushuang also knew the right real name. Yunji. There is no royal family in the daughter country. Anyone can be the master of the country. If we talk about the royal family, then everyone is an ancestor. In the kingdom of daughters, everyone thinks they are the descendants of the goddess who opened up the ancient moon time and space. It's just that no one outside recognizes it. If this is admitted, isn't Guyu Shikong belong to the kingdom of daughters? Ancient moon god sect would not agree either. Has been vehemently denied. Still have to speak with strength. If the 9 tribulations powerhouse appears in the daughter country. In other words, there have been several masters of the universe in the 8 tribulations realm. Even the gods can't help it. Can only admit. Yunji stayed the same, pushed open the wooden door, and walked in casually. Yanlong ancestor quickly took the lead and got up, respectfully and worship. Yunji came here alone without any pretensions. Uncle Yanlong, you are welcome, there are no outsiders here. After speaking, he looked at Jin Chen. Seeing this, Jian Wushuang quickly poured tea and water. Yunji just sat beside Jin Chen casually. Jin Chen was somewhat restrained at first. After chatting, he let go of his figure and asked about Yunji's country lord and the Empress Fengchen. Jian Wushuang also raised his ears and listened. I thought the other party wouldn't say it. Unexpectedly, I really said it. It just covers up that layer of sentiment. At close range, feeling the aura of the universe master of the Seven Tribulations realm, Jian Wushuang couldn't contain the excitement in his heart, but he still sat aside honestly without any sockets. The ancestor Yanlong felt that the conversation was a little far away, but he couldn't say anything, he just pretended to be dead. Lord, when I parted with my mother and queen, why didn't I have contact with each other for so many years? Jin Chen asked curiously, but after asking it out, he remembered that this topic seemed a bit sensitive. There must be some stories in it, but the Lord Yunji didn't say it. After Yunji heard it, she was not angry, but looked up and looked far away, without answering for a long time. Upon seeing this, Jin Chen quickly apologized and blamed himself for saying the wrong thing. Don't blame you. Yunji shook his head, then took the initiative to change the subject and said, in the future, you don't need to call me the lord of the country, just call me Aunt Yun immediately. Jin Chen was very pleased with this, and immediately yelled a few times. Jian Wushuang poured the tea for so long, and found that the other party still didn't notice him. He was a little anxious, but there was nothing to turn off the topic, so he could only wait. Yunji moved his gaze at this time, and found that Jian Wushuang had a causal entanglement with Jin Chen, and asked, this must be your husband. I forgot to introduce him, his name is Jian Wushuang, he just married me. Jin Chen replied heartily. Seeing this, Jian Wushuang offered tea again. Yunji looked at him up and down and said, a talented person with good strength, Feng Chen has a good vision. The country lord is absurdly praised, and the juniors are lucky enough to be in the eyes of the Empress. Jian Wushuang's respectful attitude finally touched the other party. Yunji smiled and shook his head. No, your strength is really good. Originally it was just polite words, but I didn't expect the other party to insist on it again and again. Jian Wushuang's gaze suddenly changed, and his strength had been seen through by the opponent. The supernatural power of 400,000 is useless no matter how restrained. Luck. Jian Wushuang quickly replied modestly. Yunji heard it and didn't ask much. At this moment, Jian Wushuang took the opportunity to express his doubts and begged the other party to answer. This scene made Yanlong's ancestor very gratified and wanted to take advantage of it. Unfortunately, Jin Chen, the little girl, doesn't understand. Otherwise, it would not have been for so long in vain. Let me say something useful. Not for the sake of the country, but also for the sake of yourself. You see, Jian Wushuang stepped forward to fight for it by himself. Jian Wushuang directly expressed his doubts, looking forward to the answer from the Lord Yunji. This is the Lord of the Seven Tribulations realm universe with the origin of divine power. One level with Qishan. He didn't have a chance to come into contact with this level of boss, but this time he was able to get an explanation for free. It's also a great opportunity. Hearing Jian Wushuang's doubts, Lord Yunji nodded and asked indifferently, your divine power and origin have not yet been condensed. If you want to increase each other, you actually need to reach the tribulation realm, but the secret method can also make up for this defect. It's just that I think your current strength should be reached by the Emperor, and there is no need to waste time studying this secret technique. When you reach the tribulation realm, your divine power and origin will merge, and you can get an increase without the secret technique. Jian Wushuang sighed in his heart, practicing according to the divine power, which is indeed the case. But he is a time-space practitioner. His original space does not integrate divine power, but the birth time. When he reached the tribulation realm, what he cultivated was time. It has nothing to do with divine power. Even in the tribulation realm, he couldn't directly increase his divine power. Now that the other party asked, he simply said it. Lord Yunji, I am not a divine power practitioner, but a heritage, the origin of time and space for cultivation. Hear the word time and space. Yunji frowned slightly. The ancestor Yanlong was also a little puzzled. Jin Chen is a little curious, She still doesn't know what time and space represent. The ancestor Yanlong couldn't help but said, "You are so powerful, how can it be the time and space for cultivation? This may be because of my special physique." After Jian Wushuang finished speaking, he slowly got up, oration. Directly used the ancient changes. At this time, the eternal change, the strength is no different from normal. Divine power has caught up with his original combat power. That's why he wants the combination of the two. This is the source of the increase of divine power, but it is also the source of the increase of divine power. The supernatural power after the eternal changes, he didn't dare to think about it anymore. The combat power will soar to another level. The three of them were all taken aback when they saw the blue breath on Jian Wushuang's body. Jin Chen had seen it at that time and was not too surprised, but when he saw it again, he still felt a little weird. The emperor would be so strong. The ancestor Yanlong had heard of Jian Wushuang in the past, and this time he was surprised to see Jian Wushuang explode. Sure enough, listening to the scene is worse than watching the scene. Jian Wushuang's strength was stronger than the rumors. The Lord Yunji saw that Jian Wushuang in this form consumes a lot of money, and it is not as powerful as it was when he displayed his supernatural power in the normal state. End of this chapter. Chapter 5749. Call. Jian Wushuang collected this form. It is indeed very expensive. But when they grow up, they are more powerful than divine power, and the upper limit is different. It doesn't make sense with these people, so there is no need to say it. Just need to help him answer. This sentence is true to compare the differences and do not seek each other. Your state just consumed so much, but you are obsessed with time and space together. It seems that you have a lot of opportunity. It is not impossible to combine time and space with divine power. It is just that the price is very high. My heart disease after going to the tribulation realm. Lord Yunji answered indifferently. However, Jian Wushuang insisted and said firmly, "Only by being able to merge, I will not hesitate." There is courage. The Lord Yunji praised. The ancestor Yanlong was also pleased and encouraged. Jian Wushuang, you have such a firm path. In the future, the Yu kingdom will not become your shackles, but will be your help. At this time, the ancestor Yanlong did not forget to paint Jian Wushuang. Jin Chen didn't feel anything when he arrived, but felt that Jian Wushuang was stronger than her now. After the Lord of the Universe, it would be different. The bottom of my heart is still not giving up. Since you keep insisting, I will tell you a way. I don't know if you can succeed. And you need a foreign object which is not too precious. I have a good friend in Shurgwa. He should still have it. Quite a few. If you are in a hurry, you can visit him directly. Bring this piece of uncut jade and he will understand it. After the country Lord Yunji finished speaking, he held Wenyu and entered the method of fusion of divine power into jade. Inside, Jian Wushuang quickly took it if he had won the treasure. The lord of the country is great, the kid will never forget it. If there is a need in the future, Jian Wushuang must be sad. This sentence is true. The grace of giving karma, no matter where it is greater than heaven. Same as parents. The Lord Yunji smiled and looked at Jin Chen, but the words were for Jian Wushuang. I don't need your front and rear horses as long as you treat this girl well. As soon as he finished speaking, he thought of something and added, You owe Jin Chen a favor. She could see that Jian Wushuang and Jin Chen had cause and effect, but they were not Taoists. It should be nominal. It's just that you can't directly ask about this kind of thing. That's why I changed my mouth. After Jian Wushuang heard this, the corners of his eyes moved, and he agreed. From the bottom of my heart, I also thought to myself that it should be the Lord Yunji who knew that he was just playing with Jin Chen. After being seated again. After a short while, Lord Yunji seemed to have received a voice from someone, frowned and left first. He also told Jin Chen that he would spend a few days in the daughter country, and then talk to each other when they are finished. Jian Wushuang also took advantage of this opportunity to go to Shi Kingdom. He directly absorbed the information in that piece of Wenyu, and he was also preparing to cultivate. The senior who went to visit Shurgwa was the Lord of the Universe in the Six Tribulations realm. But he was not from Shurgwa, or even a strong man in Gomu continent. It's just that one of the seniors was a casual cultivator and had no fixed residence, so he settled in Shergwa. He happened to be refining the sword blank, and he got 2 birds with 1 stone. You can even use which senior to help you find a master of casting. It's a multitude of things in one fell swoop. Ancestor Yanlong, I will go ahead and go to Stone Country. You don't need to wait for me. I will come back before the holy meeting comes. Well, be careful. If necessary, you can use the background of Yu country. Jin Chen was attracted by his daughter's country when he arrived, and had no interest in where Jian Wushuang was going. It's just that when I heard Shergua, there was a strange expression in his eyes. Jian Wushuang pretended not to see it at all, and left directly through the air. When he left, in the palace above the capital, 2 other people also left the daughter country. These 2 are the people of the blood-clothed gate. They were originally to win over the daughter of the country's lord to cooperate with the blood-clothed gate to explore a mysterious realm in the universe. Unexpectedly, it was directly rejected. That secret realm must go by the Lord of the Universe. There are only a few masters of the universe in the 7 tribulations realm. And everybody harbors ghosts, and it is the future of every major sect. There is little cooperation with the outside world. Even if it was cooperation, the bloody cloak himself was worried. So I focused on the Yunji country lord. A strong man who has just become the master of the universe of the 7 tribulations realm is easy to control. But I didn't expect to be rejected directly. The blood knife ancestor was very angry. A newly promoted 7 tribulation realm universe master, so arrogant, she will definitely regret it in the future. The red-haired young man couldn't hate it. He was extremely obsessed with which Yunji country master. Seeing his appearance, the ancestor of the blood knife seemed to give him a knife. A breath flicked across, and the blood knife ancestor research became fascinated. It's a guy from the country of Vietnam. They are so lucky, and they know their daughter, the leader of the country. The ancestor of the blood knife was a little jealous. Hearing Yugua, the red-haired youth's eyes changed and became fierce. Elder Bloodblade, why don't we go and kill them and the little lady over? At this time, an evil fire rose in his abdomen, and the Lord Yunji did not dare to infect it. But a princess of Yu Kingdom is not just taking it casually. Even if it was looted, the Yu country did not dare to pursue it. The blood knife ancestor was also angry at this time. Originally it was just an angry word, but now I really want to do it. Anyway, they are not from Gumu continent either. No, there is only a breath of air leaving. The little girl you are thinking about probably hasn't left. The ancestor of the blood knife shook his head. The red-haired young man was a little disappointed and said, "Forget it, an old bone, I don't want to chew." Thanks. It's not the old guy Yanlong, it's an emperor, or the one who shot at you. It seems to be called Jian Wushuang. The strength is pretty good. The blood knife ancestor laughed. Hearing that it was Jian Wushuang, the red-haired young man raised his interest again, and said, "You can kill him, the origin of an emperor Tianjiao, but it's delicious. Chase." The breath of the blood knife ancestor wrapped the red-haired youth, escaped into the void, and began to follow Jian Wushuang. It is unwise to make a move here. It is better to leave the daughter country. Jian Wushuang, who was flying in the void, didn't know that he had been spotted. And it's not a group of people. You reading www.Akanshu. See him, there are still a pair of eyes staring at him. He also knew the owner of these eyes. And it can be said to be very familiar. A pair of copper bell-like eyes, a thin body, and dark green skin. It's not Bobby. Who else can it be? The cosmic boat at this time, seeming to be turbulent in time and space, has actually reached the daughter country quietly. The Lord Yunji became the Lord of the 7 Tribulations realm universe, and this matter was quite sensational. It is more sensational than the Holy Meeting. The Holy Society still has some attraction to the strong below the 6 Tribulations realm. However, there is no attraction to the powerhouses above the 6 Tribulations realm. Chapter 5750. That is to say, when the Holy Meeting opens, the Willow Sacred Tree will also be open for people to visit and practice under the tree. It can also attract some strong people to come. Under the Willow Tree, it can absorb vitality. It is a good place for spiritual practice. Will attract a lot of seven tribulations realm to come. As for the Lord of the universe in the seven tribulations realm, even the Lord of the universe in the six tribulations realm can't look down upon it. Unless you open Wan Lu Shenmu. Otherwise, there is nothing worthy of nostalgia in ancient Wood Continent. Most of the time, I went to explore the secret realm of Outland, or some mainland ruins. Among the 10 places, there are many relics. Hui Qing said that the ancient moon remains is one of them. Ancient Moon Continent. In the past 10 places, it was comparable to the daytime in 9 days. Unfortunately, it has now turned into coke. There are countless prohibitions. The master of the universe in the seven tribulations realm was unable to explore in depth. Very few treasures were obtained, and slowly few people came. 9 heavens and 10 earth, very big. There are countless secret realms. The Lord of the universe in the six tribulations realm and the Lord of the universe in the seven tribulations realm will both go to trespass. The robbers have no hope of being promoted, but for the sake of vitality, they will also go to some places where vitality is born. It's just less. There are many masters of the universe in the outer domain, and there are many tribulation realms in 9 heavens and 10 earths. This is also why Jian Wushuang encountered very few masters of the universe, and most of them were Sanjia. Back then, in the Eternal Kingdom, he encountered the strongest master of the universe, and he was only in the 4 tribulations realm. He had never encountered the Lord of the universe in the 6 tribulations realm. If it weren't for entering the Jiyue Kingdom, he wouldn't even be able to see the Lord of the 5 tribulations realm universe. Most people come into contact with people like Wu Li. This visit to Yunji Kingdom Lord, the master of the universe of the 7 tribulations realm, also delayed the blessing of Yu Kingdom. No wonder Elder Mu Chen would be envious. How many powerful people will never see a master of the 7 tribulations realm universe in their lifetime? Let's talk about it. Flying along the void, he needs 2 hours to leave the daughter country. It takes 3 days to get to Shurgua. It's already fast. He didn't conceal anything now, and all 400,000 divine powers exploded. The blood knife ancestor who followed behind frowned. He didn't expect Jian Wushuang to have 400,000 times the supernatural power. Although he was a powerhouse of the 7 tribulations realm just like the Lord Yunji. But the Lord Yunji is the Lord of the universe. Vision and perception are all different. The Lord of the universe is to release, and the robbery is to shrink. The universe is like a blooming flower. The catastrophe is the withered flower. This world is like this. There will be blooming, there will be withering. Since ancient times, throughout the long river of time and space, there have also been 3 superpowers who have truly lived forever. Such a strong person is rarely encountered. Even the master of the universe in the 8 tribulations realm could not see it. It belongs to the existence of Shunlong seeing the end but not the head. Jian Wushuang himself did not dare to think so far. The master of time and space in the fantasy should be at that level. Travel time and space. Today, he has initially grasped some of the origin of time. The road to time and space is still far away. In an instant, his figure was constantly shifting in the void. Jian Wushuang's deity was taken aback for a moment. He seemed to feel another self. Is his clone? He could feel that breath as long as it was not far apart. How can I appear here? Jian Wushuang was shocked. According to his speculation, the clone followed Bobby D and should have left Gomu continent. How could I be near him in an instant? At this time, his deity was in the territory of the magic kingdom of the 16 kingdoms of grass. There is still some distance from Shurgua. Feeling the breath of his own clone, it also proves that Bobby D is nearby. He quickly compressed his breath, restrained his vitality, and then fell to the ground. The moment he disappeared, the 2 blood-clothed men who were chasing after them had their eyes flickering. The blood knife ancestor said strangely, "He seems to have found us?" His eyes kept staring at Jian Wushuang's position. Although it is impossible to detect it now, but it also knows the approximate location. The breath on his body shook, and the red-haired young man instantly reached the place where Jian Wushuang disappeared. It's weird that I can't feel the breath anymore. The blood knife ancestor frowned. The red-haired young man was also very surprised and said, "An emperor can hide his aura to this extent. In front of a seven tribulations realm, it is still possible to cover up the breath without being discovered. I am afraid that only the Lord of the Universe in the five tribulations realm can do it." So the red-haired young man was very surprised. He didn't even have the confidence, hiding in front of the seven tribulations realm, and still not being discovered. The ability of an emperor to do this not only surprised him, but also made him very jealous. It's no use concealing it. This place is so big. The seven tribulations realm can be destroyed instantly. You can't hide. It can be hidden without being discovered by the seven tribulation realm powerhouses. But the strength does not have the seven tribulations realm. Find out, it's dead. But they didn't know that Jian Wushuang was hiding from these two at all. But hiding from the terrifying Bobby D. Jian Wushuang, who hides into a turbulent flow, rushes along the direction of the wind. Long ago no longer in the original position. Now he is completely hidden and unable to conduct large-scale investigations. I didn't know that he was being chased by two parties at the same time. What he is most worried about now is Bobby D. If the deity falls into the hands of Emperor Bobby, it is over. On the blood knife ancestor's side, he didn't know that there was still a super existence here. Standing in the void with one hand behind him, he immediately shouted angrily, "Humph, I really thought it covered my breath. I didn't know you were here." This angry shout made the entire Devil Kingdom tremble. The powerhouses of the Devil Kingdom appeared one after another. But no one dared to check it. "Ancestor, are you a powerhouse in the seven tribulations realm?" In the Demon King capital, a group of robbers are waiting for the ancestors to speak. Faced with the sudden emergence of the strong, they were also panicked. "Don't be messed up, it shouldn't be aimed at my demon country, just treat it as if you haven't seen it." The ancestors of the Devil Kingdom chose forbearance. He is also a seven tribulations realm himself, but now he has too little vitality, and the price of his actions is too high. As long as a strong stranger does not threaten the capital, he will not take action. As for the master of the universe of the Demon Kingdom, is only digital, and the strongest is only in the four tribulations realm, not even as good as the U Kingdom. It belongs to the low period. There is no right to offend a vigorous and many seven tribulation realm powerhouses. The ancestor of the blood knife did not put the Devil Kingdom in his eyes at all. If the other party dared to come, he would be very rude to kill a strong person of the same level. A lingering seven tribulations realm is not as threatening as a six tribulations realm master of the universe. Inside the space boat, Bobby and Dylan are both in the control room. At this time, their position is in the Devil Kingdom. The target is not here, but the country of daughters. The anger just now shocked this terrifying existence. Chapter 57-51. Bobby D is also very knowledgeable. This is the first time I have seen such a fearless death. Thanks Tusk, he was able to discover the cosmic boat. His strength is good. Bobby D shook the strange vessel in his hand. At this time, he thought that the blood knife ancestor was talking about the universe boat. It's no wonder that he was wrong, but even though the current cosmic arc is still in the deep void, a cosmic master above the five tribulations realm can observe this behemoth for a little while. The blood knife ancestor of the seven tribulations realm found that it was also normal. The blood knife ancestor failed to cross the robbery in a very short time. The vitality in the body is also abundant. Far from reaching the point where you need to sleep. This combat power is no less than the seven tribulations realm of the Gumu sect. Standing behind Emperor Bobby, Dylan saw the blood knife ancestor in the crystal ball, with killing intent in his eyes. "I don't know how to live or die." The current Dylan, once again transformed by Bobby D, is terribly strong. There is also a chance of winning against the ancestor of the blood knife, the top powerhouse of the seven tribulations realm. Today, Emperor Bobby has created a rudimentary method for the cultivation of the powerful. Dylan is the first. In addition to Qi Jiuxiao and the soul of the Emperor, Dylan is the strongest fighter under Bobby Emperor. Dylan, who has sword in strength, also wants to show his strength. At this time, the blood knife ancestor in front of him is a good opponent, and he pleaded, "Dear Lord Babidi, please let me be with that person. War, just need a stick of incense, I can kill him." "Ha, are you very confident in your own strength?" Babidi sneered, then nodded, pointed his finger, and then took a circle at Dylan's feet, and Dylan disappeared into the control room. In the void, the cosmic boat also stopped. The Soul Tiendi and the others also felt an aura rising, and they walked out of the secret room one after another, and Jian Wushuang's clone was no exception. Through the huge French windows, they can see the void of the outside world. When Jian Wushuang saw people from outside, he was stunned. "It's him!" Jian Wushuang breathed a sigh of relief after seeing the other side's appearance. Bobby Emperor probably didn't deal with him. It's just that he didn't expect why Babidi suddenly appeared here. It should be a matter of the daughter country, because now there is no need for Emperor Bobby to be so fanatical for a 7 Tribulation Realm powerhouse. Qi Jiuxio's strength can definitely rank in the top 3 in the entire Gumu continent. Half a step in the 9 Tribulations Realm. Even if you encounter the Master of the Universe at the peak of the 8 Tribulations Realm, you are not afraid. Even in the right cosmic dojo, there is a complete battle. With such a powerful helper, Bobby Emperor should look down upon these gangsters. What kind of blood knife ancestor is, even Haitian can be destroyed. And now Bobby Emperor actually let Dylan play. Many people are very puzzled. Dylan's strength, they know, at most 7 catastrophes. I'm afraid many opponents. When they felt the rising breath, they all understood. The method of Bobby D has been created. Because the strength of Bobby D is constantly rising. But there is no vitality in the body. This has already explained the problem. Master Bobby. The Soul Tiendi looked at the core compartment. Now these people, they are no longer lost, but have an endless future. Once they get this method, they will rise again. Especially the Soul Heaven Emperor. He now has the power of the 8 Tribulations Realm, and once he obtains the method, he can step into the 8 Tribulations Realm steadily. Even the ordinary combat power of the 8 Tribulations Realm is much stronger than the original half-step. And it can continue to grow stronger. At this time, their hearts are filled with joy. It's overwhelming. Sure enough, it was right with Bobby D. They were the first group of strong men to take refuge in Bobby D, and they will also be intensively cultivated in the future. This method allows them all to enter the 8 Tribulations Realm. Dylan now has the top combat power in the 7 Tribulations Realm. The outside world is empty. Dylan was dressed in weird clothes, the same style as Barbie, with a blue skin behind him, his forehead with tentacles that hadn't fully grown out, and sharp ears. His appearance changed the eyes of the blood knife ancestor. 7 Tribulations. But when he looked at Dylan now, he could only see that Dylan had the ordinary combat power of the 7 Tribulations Realm. Although he was a little surprised, he didn't panic either. Are you a strong man in the Devil Kingdom? The blood knife ancestor stood high above him and didn't put Dylan in his eyes at all. The red-haired young man also held his head proudly. The ordinary 7 Tribulations Realm is indeed nothing to be afraid of. Dylan looked at these two people, but nothing changed. Seeing that Dylan didn't answer, the blood knife ancestor frowned, then looked at the red-haired youth and smiled. It looks like a fool. The red-haired young man also laughed wildly. The ancestor of the blood knife directly drew out the blood knife of 10,000 feet, and his figure continued to climb. His left hand condensed a wave of 1,000,000 divine power at will, and directly threw it towards the mainland below. You want to stop me, you can do it at any time. The blood knife ancestor didn't care. His top combat power in the 7 Tribulations Realm is not afraid of the ancient wood continent except for the masters of the universe and the flame gods. Even the Shenmue king, he is fearless. Dylan clenched his fists in both hands, ignored the arrogant blood knife ancestor, but began to explode the power of death in his body. The power of death runs wildly, and his divine power is constantly erupting. The blood knife ancestor was stunned. He saw Dylan's strength very clearly. The 7 Tribulations Realm was not the Lord of the universe. Logically speaking, no matter how much vitality there is in the body, It cannot break out again. Why the other party is constantly getting stronger. Just like the Lord of the Universe. Unwilling to do it. Dylan ignored it, and his divine power rose directly from 1 million to 1.5 million. Feeling the divine power surging in his body, the constant sensation made him crazy. The blood knife ancestor was completely shocked. The voice trembled and said, 1.5 million supernatural powers? In the Seven Tribulations realm, the bottom line is more than 1 million supernatural powers. The power of 1.5 million is nothing. It's just that Dylan's outbreak is very life-consuming. The blood knife ancestor didn't dare to play like this, but he didn't know that Dylan now uses the power of death completely and does not live on vitality at all. Dylan leaked a sneer at this time, stretched out 2 fingers, and spoke to the blood knife ancestor for the first time. My peak is 2 million supernatural powers, Sky. The blood knife ancestor was shocked, and then thought of something, disdainfully said, my peak, there are still 3 million. Obviously he was a little unwilling to believe it, 2 million supernatural powers. That is the normal divine power of the universe master of the Seven Tribulations realm. His current divine power can also burst to 1.8 million, which is considered the top combat power of the Seven Tribulations realm. When I was the Lord of the Universe, the normal state was more than 2 million, and the peak of 3 million was no problem. Chapter 57-52. But in the Seven Tribulations realm, without the blessings of the universe, it is still a bit difficult to think about 2 million. If the universe collapsed, it would be fine. He couldn't do it now. Naturally he didn't believe Dylan could do it. He regarded Dylan as a powerhouse in the devil country, and he didn't look down upon it. Even if it broke out with 1.5 million supernatural powers. 1.5 million is enough to deal with this kind of loose robbery of you. Dylan shot directly as soon as he finished his voice. The figure broke out unconsciously and directly transformed into a huge size. Otherwise, it is not enough to carry more than 1 million divine power, unless it is the origin or the physical body is extremely special, such as special life. The blood knife ancestor immediately yelled and threw the red-haired young man into the turbulent flow of time and space, reminding him, that kid should have escaped. You take the opportunity to chase him, and this person will be handed over to me. Ancestor, be careful. The red-haired young man replied calmly chasing Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang's clone is to watch this scene steadily, and his deity appeared on the border of the demon kingdom and stopped by the way. He has to wait for a red-haired young man. A master of the universe in the Four Tribulations realm, there is nothing to be afraid of. At that time, lead the opponent into the stone country, stay away from Emperor Bobby, and it will not be too late to start. It's just that the opponent is not pleasing to the eye, so I just practiced my hand. He hadn't used the 400,000 supernatural power yet. Seeing Dylan and Blood Knife each erupt, his hands were itchy. The match between Dylan and the Blood Knife ancestor was extremely exciting. Jian Wushuang's deity waited while watching through the clone. Above the void, a white breath burst. 2 tens of thousands of feet, like a ghost, flashing around. Jian Wushuang watched the excitement, but he couldn't trace the point of each shot of the two. Can only watch the excitement. The Soul Tiendi and the others were really excited. Dylan's divine power, although it has not been exploded, but he is supported by the power of death, and his divine power is unlimited. On the other hand, the top power of the Seven Tribulations realm cannot support such a large consumption at all. It will only become weaker and weaker. Di Luan has adapted to his current divine power and has begun to suppress the other party. The Soul Tiendi whispered from the side. Everyone nodded frequently. Jian Wushuang was an emperor. He could understand, but he could not understand. You can only see the afterimages left behind after each fight between the two. Now this piece of emptiness is almost full of afterimages. Full of millions of Tao. Every afterimage is the image left behind when the two fight each other. Because the speed is too fast, it even affects time, causing their bodies to break through the dimension of space and go to another place. But the shadow is still in its original position. Time is too late to react. The powerhouse with 1,000,000 supernatural powers is really powerful and terrifying. Jian Wushuang looked shocked. The battle at this time is not like the one in the Eternal Kingdom. When the Soul Heaven Emperor made his move and charged up, he could see clearly, and he could also feel the terrifying aura of the 8 Tribulations realm. But now it's different. Now they are 2 powerful men of equal strength, fighting each other. The time in the Eternal Kingdom was a unilateral crush. Look, Dylan is breaking out again. Everyone's eyes moved again. Jian Wushuang was desperately looking for it. This time Dylan stopped his figure, folded his hands, and then raised it to the sky with a loud shout. The surrounding void and countless shadows instantly shattered. Ha! Dylan was covered with electric arcs, his figure shrank, and his power exploded. The supernatural power of 2,000,000 was fully revealed. The blood knife ancestor was panting at this time, and the time when the two fought a stick of incense, each time they fought against each other with high intensity, each time they wished to tilt their whole body divine power. This kind of battle seldom played after his universe collapsed. Happiness is very enjoyable, and he also shocked Dylan's madness. Foul offense. He doesn't care about his own vitality. From disdain to shock. Now he is a little desperate. You are the Lord of the universe. The blood knife ancestor was flustered, his breath was unstable, his chest was up and down, his throat was sweet, and he spouted blood. After Dylan broke out, he slowly walked towards the blood knife ancestor, ignored the opponent's surprise, and said to himself, "The time for a stick of incense is coming soon." It seemed to walk slowly, but the speed was astonishingly fast. With a punch, it directly smashed the blood cloak on the blood knife ancestor. The blood knife's eyes shrank, and his divine power continued to decline. From 1.8 million to 1.5 million. The blood spewed out, and it fell to about 1,000,000. Before he could react, it was another punch. Hit the front door of the blood knife ancestor. With this punch, the blood knife ancestor completely lost his combat power. Dead. Dylan is like a demon in the slaughter, no one can stop him, and he feels full of oppression. In his hand, a blood-colored diamond realm condensed, piercing directly towards the chest of the blood knife ancestor. At this moment, the blood knife ancestor exhausted his breath and desperately blocked it. The blood knife lay across his chest. At the same time, he used the transmission treasure to inform the blood-clothed door of the things in this place. Dark days. The master of the blood-clothed door, the contemporary top cosmic master of the 7 Tribulations realm. He is also the father of the red-haired youth. What? There is a death crisis in the blood knife, and Shao is here too. The blood-clothed sect master frowned. Haitian, the strongest 8-star sect. The person in charge of the blood-clothed door. The strongest family, the Lord of the Night family. At this moment, the eyes flickered, and the next moment there was a communication token, which informed another super powerhouse in Gumu continent, a powerhouse who also had some connections with him. The only one who can help him now is that person. Although somewhat reluctant, a top elder in the 7 Tribulations realm and his son are still in Gumu continent. If the blood knife died, his son would also die. The news came out. Ancient Wood continent, daughter country. In an exquisite small courtyard, a middle-aged man with a long and narrow body trembles when he sees the content on the token. Yi Lingyun, would you also beg me? Taidan looked forward to leaking an undetectable dark smile. At the beginning, the two were fighting so fiercely, he kept beating the young patriarch of Haitian's first family. It was also because of this incident that he was squeezed out by He Tian and came to Gumu continent. Although he entered the Gyue divine sect, he was not afraid of someone asking for trouble. It's just that Haitian is completely controlled by Yejia, and Guyu Shinjiao can't help it. So he took the initiative to apply and came to Gumu continent. Yi Lingyun. He didn't treat the opponent as an opponent. But the opponent has always regarded him as an opponent. I didn't expect to beg him this time. I'm going out for a trip, you are waiting here. If any country lord comes, he will say that I have something to leave for a few days. Tai the courageous confession, then tore the void and left the daughter country directly. It can almost be said that he was in the void of the demon kingdom in an instant. Not good. Sol Tiandi and others reacted fastest. But they cannot go out directly in the spacecraft. At this time, Emperor Bobby also noticed the incoming person with a single finger and directly led the Sol Tiandi and others out of the spaceship. Chapter 57-53. He didn't need his order. The Emperor's soul heaven took the lead and directly stopped the Iron Guts. When Tai Dan looked at the many powerful men who came in, he exclaimed, "It's really lively. Brother Zhu, don't come unharmed." The Soul Heaven Emperor's voice was cold, not like saying hello. More like a provocation. He had long looked upset with Tai's courage. At this time, it is possible to use the power of Bobby D to kill the opponent. He knew the strength of the iron courageous spirit. He knew that the pinnacle 7 Tribulations realm was still the master of the universe. It was not much different from his current combat power. With his current strength alone, he has no confidence to kill the opponent. However, don't forget, there is a super existence in the spacecraft. Qi Jiuxiao. If Qi Jiuxiao was willing to make a move, a universe master in the 7 Tribulations realm would really be nothing. It all depends on what Bobby D wants to do. As long as Emperor Bobby nodded, Qi Jiuxiao would definitely make a move. Jian Wushuang, who came with him, tried his best to let himself be at the end of the crowd, his aura restrained, and he did not dare to show his head. I don't know if anyone will pay attention to him. But the Blood Knife ancestor, but knew him. If it gets recognized, it's not good. Fortunately, Dylan's shot was ruthless just now, and now the Blood Knife ancestor is left with a sigh of relief, and it should be difficult to pay him any more. On the other side, an unknowing red-haired young man was still chasing him. At this time, both of them have arrived in the territory of Shurgua. It's time for him to do it. As for the battlefield over the Devil Kingdom, he could feel that Bobby D had no arrogant plan to kill anyone at the site, especially dealing with the Lord of the Universe. Bobby didn't seem interested. Moreover, Tian Shenho was the strong man of the ancient moon cult. Once it was beheaded, it would pierce the sky. Although Emperor Bobby is not afraid of Qi Jiuxiao, it is too much trouble now that he has broken through the sky. The most important thing at the moment is his plan. So when he saw the opponent appear, he directly led in and out. If the Blood Knife is not dead, he will also take it away. Anyway, it will be sooner or later. It's just this scene, Jian Wushuang doesn't seem to see it. It is best to kill them all, and then leave quickly. He didn't want to be recognized. Bobby D took the people and confronted the Iron Guts. Jian Wushuang's deity, like walking a dog, with a red-haired youth, plunged into a dangerous place in the Stone Country. This place is Lufengpo. It is said that an innate creature has fallen. That being, the natural lord of the universe, is extremely powerful. Much more powerful than the 9 beast gods in Morwa time and space. Each is the 7 Tribulations realm. It's just that no matter how powerful these innate creatures are, they will eventually fall into the hands of the strong. The strong human race, the ancestor of the Stone Country. At the peak, killing such innate creatures is extremely simple. The fallen innate creatures, their bodies fell on this place, together with the source of divine power, all poured into the valley here. Lufengpo was formed since then. After countless times of exploration, there are no secrets anymore. Not to mention the Lord of the Universe, even the Emperor is rarely involved. That is, this place is extremely vast. Many people came to try their luck. Jian Wushuang chose to be here, also to conceal people's eyes and ears. Those forbidden forces could not stop him at all. The wanton collision shattered the space in this place. The red-haired young man was chasing after him and saw Jian Wushuang going through dangerous places. He thought Jian Wushuang was the end of the road, but he didn't know that this place was his fall. Boy, you can't escape. If you stop now, I can consider accepting you as a dog. The red-haired young man laughed wildly, just like hunting, chasing Jian Wushuang with ease. Jian Wushuang, who was flying in the front, looked back and felt that it was almost enough. Has reached the deepest part of Lufengpo. No one can enter this place. In the past, there have been cosmic masters who have come through the tribulation realm and have some weaknesses. It's gone now. Not afraid of being seen by outsiders. Jian Wushuang bent his legs and stopped abruptly, then slowly straightened his body without turning around. After a breath, the red-haired youth also chased him. Turn your back to each other. His hand is constantly shaking, always ready to draw the sword. This battle depends on how strong it is. There is nowhere to run. The red-haired young man raised his head proudly, his expression cold. Sung, cut, click. A series of voices sounded at the same time. Jian Wushuang drew his sword in an instant, tapped his toes, and leaned back. The Jueyun sword in his hand was already out. The divine power on his body directly exploded to 400,000. All this was very fast. Jian Wushuang used the true meaning of time, and at this moment, the time of Luo Fengpe stopped for a while. The master of the universe of the Four Tribulations realm, the young master of the blood-clothed door, did not even react. When he wanted to draw a knife to resist, his eyes had already begun to tilt. The flesh broke instantly. A blood mist erupted, and he was completely stunned. The blood mist recasts the flesh. This is the peak secret method of the blood cloak door. Unexpectedly, to an emperor today, he would use the blood mist in an instant, which would only be used when his life was saved. The red-haired young man who reunited his body pointed at Jian Wushuang, still looking at Jian Wushuang's generous back. What sword did you just use? Red-haired young man, dumbfounded. He couldn't believe Jian Wushuang would be so powerful. He Tian's strongest emperor can be comparable to the general lord of the universe. He has also seen it. The peak of divine power is 250,000. But Jian Wushuang is another 400,000. The eruption in just an instant amounted to more than 500,000. This is simply appalling. More powerful than any great priest. Jian Wushuang shook his arm and held Jueyun upside down. Turning his eyes slightly, he said coldly, "It's just an ordinary eternal treasure." The red-haired young man couldn't believe it, and only felt that Jian Wushuang was coaxing him. He also stared at the Jueyun sword in Jian Wu's hands. The sword is really nothing special. The other party probably didn't know the vitality in Wan Lu, so he didn't find anything. When he looked at the armor on Jian Wushuang's body, he was stunned. Innate origin. You actually have the treasure of the universe with innate origin. The red-haired young man seemed to grasp the reason why Jian Wushuang was so powerful. Jian Wushuang was disdainful, shook his head and replied, "A young master of the 8-star sect? Is this just the point of insight? What's all the fuss about a beast soldier? There used to be many in the ancient moon time and space. It's just that as the times have moved, there are almost none that are still intact. Like this place, Lufengpo is the place where a congenital creature has fallen. It's a pity that the body and origin. Otherwise, it is a treasure that is stronger than the beast warrior." "Huh, arrogant boy with good luck." The red-haired young man changed his worry and panic on his face, but became more calm. Jian Wushuang also felt a little bad at this time. Chapter 57-54. The Shao clan of the 8-star sect shouldn't be so wasteful. Even the master of the universe in the Four Tribulations realm might have some sort of backhand, which could burst out powerful strength. It's not as ordinary as it was just now. Remember, I am Yun Shao of Haishini's family. The red-haired young man finished speaking, wrapping his arms around each other with his hands, and the red meridians on his forehead throbbed instantly. The divine power around him also became weird. Actually, they are constantly gathering on Yi Yangxiu's body. The Lord of the Universe in the Four Tribulations realm is about 400,000 divine powers. But at this time, the opponent's divine power had soared to 450,000. Jian Wushuang was able to calm down at first, but as the opponent's divine power continued to rise, his heart was also particularly shocked. Not surprising then. If the other party is a young master, if there is no good show, wouldn't it be a waste? Within 500,000, he can fully grasp it, and more than 500,000 supernatural powers, it is not impossible to fight. I'm not going to watch you become stronger. Jian Wushuang took out the sword again, flying out upside down. A sword flower swept across, shattering the void space and shattering the origin of this place. The condensed supernatural power was also shattered by the tip of his sword. A hard thing directly blocked his Jueyun sword. Jian Wushuang frowned, faced each other for the first time, and turned back. As he could see, a blood-colored mask appeared on the body of the red-haired Yi Yunxiao. The power of Shangfen is extremely terrifying, exceeding 1,000,000 supernatural powers. Ha! Jian Wushuang was taken aback when he saw it, and then reacted. That is a protective cover, able to withstand 1,000,000 supernatural powers. It's not that Yi Yunxiao has 1,000,000 supernatural powers. Otherwise, he won't have time to run. Jie, be taken aback. Yi Yunxiao still did not forget to mock Jian Wushuang at this time. Jian Wushuang stabilized his figure and said coldly, "It's nothing more than the tortoise shell. I don't believe you have been hiding in it." Ha! Yi Yunxiao, who heard these words, laughed wildly, as if he had heard a big joke. After his divine power continued to rise and reached a limit, he stopped laughing, his eyes condensed with killing intent, staring at Jian Wushuang and said, "You are really innocent and lovely. This is my father's divine power. You don't need my father's divine power to kill you, mine is enough. You second generations, do you like to talk big?" Jian Wushuang's mouth was hard, but there was a cold sweat coming out of his back, as expected. The opponent does have a strong hole card. The blood shield of 1,000,000 supernatural powers can not only block the attack, but can also be attacked by Yi Yunxiao. This is a little scary. If the other party wanted to kill him directly, wouldn't it be that he would ascend to heaven just now? Jian Wushuang shook his head. This divine power does not belong to Yi Yunxiao, so it is limited. He has to consume this power, otherwise Yi Yunxiao will find that he can't beat him, and if he uses this power, wouldn't he be finished? Millions of supernatural powers. For those of the Soul Heaven Emperor, it is nothing, and can only be regarded as a master of entry. But for him, that is the power of despair. Don't look at him now that he can explode 500,000 supernatural powers to the limit, but in front of 1,000,000 supernatural powers, he is an ant. Mayfly shakes the tree. He uses the power of the ant to consume the big tree. Jian Wushuang received Qi Jueyun's sword. His eyes turned lightly, and a blue flame could be seen from his pupils. The next moment, the blue breath of the whole body directly rose. Eternal change. Jian Wushuang clenched his fists. At this time, his peak state is probably comparable to 500,000 supernatural powers. It's just the power of the stars. Now for him, there are many. It's more cost-effective than consuming divine power. Moreover, his origin is the origin of the starry sky, so naturally it is easier to use the power of the origin. What's this? Yi Yunxiao also noticed Jian Wushuang's transformation, but didn't think how strong Jian Wushuang's transformation was, which was similar to the state just now. It's just the color of the hair and the breath on the body have changed. This breath replaced the divine power. The power of the stars exploded, and the divine power retreated. This made Jian Wushuang very distressed. If divine power increases the starry sky increases divine power. His 500,000 divine power can be used as 1,000,000 divine power. It's a pity that he can't master it now. The Lord Yunji also said that this kind of exercise is too defying. The emperor may be hopeless. But after the robbery, Jian Wushuang had to master this secret method. Otherwise, his divine power will suffer very much in the future. The two cannot have both, and it is also a kind of pain. He has the bones of Dongjun. Dongjun's identity is likely to be a starry powerhouse. The seed he left behind in the starry sky. Strength is stronger than Qishan. Guaranteed 8 tribulations realm. Combining Dongjun's bones, he will eventually become a superpower. Divine power and origin are practiced at the same time. Need to combine. But it is not combined to become the source of divine power. The origin of divine power is to put the cart before the horse. Jian Wushuang clenched his fist, with infinite power. A fist shadow burst out. Boomed directly on the blood shield. It just hit this blood shield without any change. He may shake the tree, and he can't help it. Yi Yunxiao snorted coldly, and continued to gather the divine power around him. He only needs a few breaths to be able to gather success. Now condensed in general, his divine power has soared from 430,000 to 500,000. The limit state, 550,000, or even 580,000 is not a problem. He believed that this power was already able to kill Jian Wushuang. If it was really just this trump card, Jian Wushuang would not be afraid of himself. But he was afraid that this blood shield would eventually become a blood knife or a blood sword, and a move took him in seconds. If one punch is not enough, then 100 punches, 10,000 punches. For him in his current state, hitting hundreds of millions of punches is just an instant. Boom! The shadow of the boxing that kept blasting out sturdily hit the blood shield. A million supernatural power, no matter how hard it is, it starts to shake. Yi Yunxiao was almost startled to drop his chin. He found that Jian Wushuang's power was like infinite, constantly erupting with all his strength, but it was not weakened. It seems that a simple attack is useless. After Jian Wushuang realized that he could only shake, but couldn't consume it, he decided to change it. He thought of the trick that the Emperor Soul Heaven had used in the Eternal Realm. Gather strength with both hands. He squeezed his hands up and down, instantly condensing a group of blue terrifying power. This group of blue power, Yu reading www.akanshu. Calm is only the size of a fist. Injecting the power of the starry sky again, it instantly became 10 times larger. Jian Wushuang squeezed hard with both hands and shrank into a point. Then inject the power of the stars again. Just repeat it tens of thousands of times. That group of blue power is extremely pure. Dark blue. This power was at least 100 times stronger than the power of the starry sky outside Jian Wushuang's body. Yi Yunxiao in the blood shield was unmoved. He hadn't noticed that something was wrong at this time. Haha, I didn't expect it to be successful. He did this for the first time, and he did not expect to learn the essence of the Soul Heaven Emperor secretly. Chapter 57-55. Push with both hands to directly throw the blue light ball out. A blue pillar was instantly exposed. Boom directly on the blood shield. This time, the absolute violent power directly shook the blood shield out of its original position. Yi Yunxiao was extremely surprised. At this time, he had to stop and prepare to consider using his father's power to kill Jian Wushuang. But without waiting for him to hesitate, another light group appeared behind him. When he reacted, Jian Wushuang had already condensed hundreds of deep blue balls, and they all threw them to Yi Yunxiao's side. At this time, he did not dare to remove the blood shield and attack Jian Wushuang. How come you have so much power? Yi Yunxiao was almost crazy. The light ball on Jian's hands is constantly being born, and he said indifferently, although I am not as big as you, but this power, I really don't lack. After speaking, a deep blue ball was thrown again. This trick is to cast a rat avoidance device. Let Yi Yunxiao dare not use the power of the blood shield to attack Jian Wushuang. For the sake of safety, Jian Wushuang condensed tens of thousands of deep blue of light. Yi Yunxiao in the blood shield was going crazy. You're endless. He looked around, and his heart trembled as he looked around at every dark blue ball that was terrifying. If it weren't for the blood shield, he wouldn't need so many deep blue balls. Just a few, he would have been seriously injured. 10 he will fall. At this time, Jian Wushuang had gathered more than 10,000. And it didn't mean to stop. He was completely panicked. The strongest trump card is the blood shield condensed by millions of supernatural powers. These millions of supernatural powers can condense blood needles in addition to the blood shield. Take care of both defense and killing. But now he was trapped by Jian Wushuang. At the moment when the blood shield turned into a blood needle, he was likely to change his life with Jian Wushuang. But if he keeps on waiting like this, there is a high probability that he will be finished. Blood Knife Ancestor, come and save me, he shouted desperately from the bottom of his heart. But at this time, the Blood Knife Ancestor is hard to protect himself, so there is no time to save him. At this time, he also received the news of his father, Yi Lingyun. What? The Blood Knife Ancestor was killed. When he received the news, he almost cried. An ancestor of the 7 Tribulations realm, that's it. He suddenly thought of Jian Wushuang. Which mysterious former appeared to block them? He thought he was Jian Wushuang's helper. Don't think about it, the blood knives are over, no one can save you. Jian Wushuang said coldly. The blood knife ancestor has been cut by Dylan. Tai Dawn appearance is comparable to the Soul Heaven Emperor, and he has half a step in the 8 Tribulations realm. This was beyond his expectation. But the bravery has been defeated. It seems that he was entrusted to save Yun Shao. Unexpectedly, Yun Shao chased him by mistake. Everything is God's will. If others fail to calculate, they will be calculated instead. Now that the other party has no rescue, he is not in a hurry anymore, just like this continuously condensing the deep blue ball. Yi Yun Shao was completely desperate. If you want to call your father, you can think of being killed by an emperor. He really has no face to say. You forced me. The lines on Yi Yunxiu's forehead burst out, and said frantically, everyone has to die, let's be buried together. He instantly took away the blood shield, surrounded by thousands of blood needles, all shot towards Jian Wushuang. When Jian Wushuang noticed it, he secretly said, not good. He also detonated all the deep blue in an instant. Without the protection of the blood shield, Yi Yun Shao would definitely die. But where there are thousands of blood needles, each one has 1,000,000 supernatural powers. In the power of the bursting starry sky, the speed did not decrease, and he rushed towards Jian Wushuang. Fortunately, the power of the starry sky has worn out the supernatural power of the blood needle. From 1,000,000 to 800,000. In the end, before Jian Wuduan, there were only 700,000 left. Even so, Jian Wushuang couldn't take 10,000 blood needles. At this moment, almost all the backhands he could think of were displayed. Guantian chessboard. Jian Wushuang pressed with one hand, and a chessboard rising from the huge waves instantly appeared at his feet. One thought of the universe. An elliptical universe appeared throughout Lefengpo, which condensed almost instantly. 9,000 black holes, and 9 cosmic mysteries. It is spectacular. This background has already exceeded the master of the universe in the 4 Tribulations realm. Jian Wushuang shouted angrily, and the beasts and soldiers on his body also exploded to the extreme. Keep your hands in front of you. Let the blood needle rush. The blood needle passed through directly ignoring his divine body. What? Jian Wushuang was seriously injured almost instantly. Countless life force was ready to go, and he recovered again at the moment he was seriously injured. Full of blood needles. A bit faster, 2 blood needles can directly kill him. The power of the beast god. Jian Wushuang couldn't manage that much at this time. Under the power of the starry sky, forcibly used the power of the beast god. Divine power broke out completely. The two are forcibly gathered together. Jian Wushuang's supernatural power broke 500,000 in an instant. Damn it. Still can't get the slightest increase, it will only make him do 2 things. But at this time, he would be finished without breaking out. Can only endure it. Fortunately, the animal gods and soldiers resisted. Just double the power of the beast god, not enough. Twice. Jian Wushuang crushed his teeth. Divine power rose again. The supernatural power of 580,000. His divine body is about to collapse. Burning divine body. 600,000 supernatural powers. Jian Wushuang's entire body was about to be shattered. This time, he would be seriously injured and sleepy if he didn't die. There is no way for the power of life. However, none of the 10,000 blood needles has the power of 700,000 supernatural powers. With 600,000 supernatural power alone, it was still unstoppable. Fortunately, with one thought of the universe's great success, you can reduce the power of 10%. This allowed him to stabilize his foot a little. No, I still can't stand it. Jian Wushuang gritted his teeth, and saw a twinkle of blood needles through the gap between his arms. He knew that this was because the speed of the blood needle was too fast, even the afterimage was gone, and every flash was like a teleport. Puff! Several blood needles passed through his divine body at the same time, leaving several blood holes. The life force runs wildly and still cannot fill the loopholes. Jian Wushuang yelled, his arms stretched out directly. 3 times the power of the beast god. The breath suddenly soared. The base supernatural power is 400,000. 3 times the power of the beast god, a full increase of 300,000 divine power. At this moment he directly resisted the blood needle. Yin Yen universe has also reached full power. Yu reading www.ukanshu.com. The treasure of time and space under my feet has changed at this time. He originally thought that he could not support 3 times the power of the beast god, but he did not expect that the origin of the time and space treasure would stabilize him. Jian Wushuang was finally relieved. One hand slammed the blood needle rushing in front of him, directly shattering the divine power inside the blood needle. Break, boom! His origin completely exploded, and the power of the starry skies suddenly rose to a level. With the blessing of the treasure of time and space, his strength has doubled. This is the most dangerous battle since he became the emperor. Fully used all the backhands. Chapter 57-56. The Jueyun sword was all shattered just now, and the divine body was also devastated. What he didn't expect at all was that he could spur the Guantian chessboard. At this moment he was standing above the chessboard, a battle armor gathered on his chest, and the upper part had a font size. Will. The word madly absorbs his origin, and the chess pieces are gathered under his feet. He also has a battle armor with a general size. Some blood needles that hadn't been shattered rushed, and couldn't break this armor. And the reduced power is 50%. A blood needle of 700,000 supernatural power was pierced into the battle armor of the font size, and the attack he received was reduced by half. That is 350,000 supernatural powers. There is no way to threaten him. The wings of the candle dragon at the back shocked, directly shattering all the blood needles. The treasure of time and space, I can actually inspire the power of the treasure of time and space. Jian Wushuang himself felt incredible. In the beginning, he used the Guantian chessboard to observe the origin of the internal chess pieces. After arriving at the emperor, he will be able to swallow the origin of the points. Because of the power of life, he can even revive the high point pawn. However, these are not the powers of the time and space treasure itself. At this time, he was considered to have inspired a certain secret method on the Guantian chessboard. The battle armor of the font size. Weakened 50% attack. It can also guard the divine body. Otherwise, his divine body would shatter just now. Teacher Xian Yi, why did you hand over this thing to me? Such a powerful treasure made Jian Wushuang dream of. In fact, most of the benefits that Guantian chessboard brings to him are auxiliary. This is the first time to stimulate power. I didn't expect it to be so powerful. Such a powerful treasure, the entire time and space, I am afraid that there are not many. And this kind of treasure, I haven't heard anyone say that it can be refined. Maybe those 3 eternal existences can be refined. But that kind of character is difficult to see once, let alone refining treasures for you. Teacher Xian Yi left this treasure to him. I am afraid that the meaning is not simple. There are definitely many secrets in this treasure. The battle armor of the font size is so powerful, it can reduce the attack by 50%. And it ignores the strength of the opponent. The treasures of the past can also weaken 99% of attacks. But where is just an ordinary treasure? The emperor can easily destroy it. If faced with the blood needle of 700,000 supernatural power, I am afraid that the breath can crush that kind of treasure. However, the armor of the font size can be perfectly weakened, and it is not traumatized. From this point of view, this kind of battle armor is at least a treasure of the 6 tribulations realm or higher. It's a pity that this kind of battle armor can't be taken out. It can be regarded as a battle armor condensed from the Guantian chessboard. When using it, take out the chessboard. General, handsome, God. If it were a handsome armor, Jian Wushuang couldn't imagine it. If he is correct in guessing, the font size corresponds to the 5 calamities to the 7 calamities. The handsome font size is likely to be a battle armor above the 8 tribulations realm. The name of God is 9 tribulations. Even a treasure that lasts forever. Logically speaking, the Guantian chessboard is the treasure of time and space, but it can condense the same level of armor. This is much more powerful than the first true king introduced. No loss is Xuanyi teacher. Jian Wushuang shocked. I also thought in my heart that perhaps teacher Xian Yi was even better than the long-lived character. More live in the future. But he was able to come to this time and space and teach him. This makes him extremely yearning for the future world. I don't know where that world is. Perhaps in the depths of the starry sky, perhaps in the long river of time and space. He couldn't wait to see it. Strength must be improved immediately. Jian Wushuang clenched his fist. This time he almost fell. In the long river of time and space at the end, the emperor is still a strong one. But in the upstream time and space of Guyu time and space, it is completely impossible. Only by becoming the master of the universe can he gain a firm foothold. Soon. He will soon be able to do it. With the aid of the Guantian chessboard, his origin broke through very quickly, and he also grasped the true meaning of time, which was just short of condensing the origin of time and space. Once the origin of time and space is condensed and merged into the universe, he can cross the catastrophe at will. At the level of the master of the universe. He also has the mighty treasure of beasts. The combat power is even more terrifying. Thinking of the beast god soldier, Jian Wushuang put away the power of the beast god. The just limit state has placed a heavy burden on him. If it weren't for the name of the battle armor guarding the divine body, he would be finished. The moment the power of the beast disappeared, the aura on his body also turned white. The divine body began to fall apart. 700,000. The Lord of the universe in the five tribulations realm may not be able to bear it. This time he was indeed too risky. Call. Under the bath of life force, he fully recovered. The life force on his body is completely uncovered at this time, and it is gushing like spring water. If seen by those scattered robbers, there is no place for him to live in the entire time and space. This is also the reason why he has been trying his best to hide since reaching Guyu time and space. After he became the master of the seven tribulations realm universe, there was no need to hide. At that time, those scattered robbers would not dare to hit him to pay attention, but instead he could use the power of life to create a huge force. Of course, this is a story. The seven tribulations realm is still too far away. Unexpectedly, there is still something left. Jian Wushuang saw a few treasures floating in the void in the distance. Not damaged by the power of his starry sky. Presumably it is not a thing. Jian Wushuang accepted it casually. Several treasures of the universe with the logo of the blood-clothed door. He can't use it, but it can be swallowed. Now his origin has 9,000 black holes. Having swallowed these powerful treasures of the universe, it will be possible to head towards the consummation of the universe at that time. If it wasn't for the lack of time, he would want to break through in advance. Shenghui Wanlu. Jian Wushuang collected his thoughts. Still have to wait. The chance is not enough. With these treasures alone, he can break through, but there is not much treasure. He doesn't lack treasures, but he still lacks some secrets. The pinnacle secret of my own creation. The Starry Sky Catalog, Eternal Changes. This is considered his whole card. The power of the beast god, although powerful, is still too single. Since he is in the time and space of the source of the divine power, he still needs to get a few secret methods of the divine power. The law is not spread. He is not in the sect but in the family. But the royal family will not pass the law of the town to him. Got to buy it. Fortunately, he is worthy now. The Source Stone Sacred Mountain is enough for him to splurge. Go! Jian Wushuang swept the battlefield before leaving. But when he just set out to leave, the life force that had just appeared was not under his control, and all went underground. This shocked Jian Wushuang. Hurriedly fell from the void. Is there something strange? Jian Wushuang frowned. Being able to absorb his life force, he himself couldn't stop it. Fortunately, it just absorbs some of the vitality leaked out. Chapter 5757. If it could absorb the life force in his body, that would be incredible. If that were the case, he would have already started to flee. However, just absorbing the external life force did not threaten him. Go and see. This aroused Jian Wushuang's curiosity. This place falls on Fengpa. I have never heard of this happening here. San Jie didn't bother to come here. What exactly is it? Jian Wushuang's figure shrank, following the force of life, and dived into the ground. Entering the underground, the dense soil layer exceeded Jian Wushuang's imagination. With his current strength, it was already a bit difficult to dive for a long time. In other words, the average super-strong person can't even do it within 100 feet. His current normal state is 400,000 supernatural powers. This strength is enough to disregard the four tribulations realm. It makes him difficult. But the life force that was drawn away is still diving. Originally, I felt that there was no threat. But now he hesitated. Something that can be in such a deep place, whether it is a human or a ghost. The strength is not average. He must be treated with care. 400,000 supernatural powers, all exploded, and his speed increased again, keeping up with the life force that was drawn away. Dive 5,000 battles again. The pressure made Jian Wushuang's face pale. The density below is getting higher and higher. It's almost the same as Jibao. Drilling into the treasure is too uncomfortable. The power of the beast god. Jian Wushuang shouted in a low voice. There is still some Marfa based on divine power alone. Eternal change. He came directly to the peak state, the blue aura wrapped his body and rushed directly below. This time, there was no resistance, and it directly caught up with that life force. The distance is only 10 battles away. So I'm not afraid to run away. 20,000 feet. 30,000 feet. Soon once again reached the peak of Jian Wushuang. He dared not drill down anymore. Not only because it consumes too much. More importantly, things that can reach this depth. He is certainly not weak, able to survive here for a long time, and even stronger than him. Maybe it's this chance. The guts are that he dare not gamble. If you give up, you must give up. He has more opportunities and there is no need to delay time here. Sometimes, learn to give up actively. If he is facing his opponent, he will fight desperately. But for things like this, he doesn't need to be serious. Should go or have to go. But he just wanted to leave. The body shape suddenly loosened, and the pressure disappeared. Is this? Jian Wushuang was stunned for a moment, and then found that he had entered a space. It's like a natural underground cave. The surrounding walls are extremely smooth. It should have been a dark cave. But after the power of life entered, it became full of greenery. The green light shone on the dark cave. Jian Wushuang also saw the scene ahead clearly. The cave is not big, only 100 feet long and wide. Barely stretched his legs. In the center of this space, Jian Wushuang saw a familiar scene. Something is stored in a green vessel. It wouldn't be a coincidence. Jian Wushuang thought of the human walking beetle who had stayed in you. It's just the unknown creature in this vessel, not the appearance of a bug. More like an egg. Now Jian Wushuang saw the egg and he just reflexed. I am very worried about the giant egg. This also reminded him of Qi Jiuxiao. And Frosa, the of the time. Fortunately, he still has the token of the Titans. This is also the reason why he is afraid that Bobby D will find his deity. His token, as Frosa said, as long as he encounters the giant clan, he will become a guest of honor. I don't know if it's useful for Qi Jiuxiao. If it is useful, it can make a lot of money. A super powerhouse in the 9 tribulations realm in half a step. It's a pity to be controlled by Bobby D. If it could be controlled by him, that would be great. What annihilation temple. Even if Qishan is reborn. Are going to die. This kind of thing, he just think about it. Basically impossible. Emperor Bobby used some kind of starry sky secret method to control Qi Jiuxiao. There is nothing he can do with a token alone. At best, Qi Jiuxiao could not attack him. But this seems to be enough. Without Qi Jiuxiao's help, Emperor Bobby was just an ordinary calamity realm. Not as good as the master of the universe in the 3 tribulations realm. It's a pity that there are too many strong people around him now. Otherwise, you can take a shot against Bobby D. Pity. By the side of Emperor Bobby, there was Dylan and the super existence of Emperor Soul Heaven. He has no angle to start. So I dare not think too much. Just saw an egg again and again. He was thinking about getting a secret method from Emperor Bobby to turn this courage into a powerful person like Qi Jiuxiao. I think too much. Jian Wushuang shook his head. Step towards the green vessel. The power of his life has penetrated. Unlike the human walking beetle, the creatures in this vessel seem to be able to become stronger only by the power of life. That beetle needs breath. These two things are actually similar. Cannibal monster. The round meatball in the vessel is pink and tender. After absorbing his vitality, he quickly reached the peak of immortality from the mundane level. This is beyond Jian Wushuang's accident. The growth rate is much faster than that of the beetle. He once again released some life force to enter, and this time the round flesh group directly broke through the emperor. There is no stagnation. It seems that the shackles of the emperor do not exist. It seems that it is indeed different from the practitioner. These monsters have no constraints. There is also no place to practice. As long as there is enough vitality, it will be strong. Jian Wushuang suddenly seemed to know whether these monsters had an upper limit. Who created it? Jian Wushuang thought, unconsciously tilting the life force out. The pink meatballs are all absorbed. Without any hesitation, Jian Wushuang raised his hand and patted the meatball. It was soft and without any threat. There is no threat, but the aura of high points has reached the tribulation realm. This is too fast. Jian Wushuang didn't dare to feed again. This kind of thing he can't enslaved, feed too strong, he is in danger. It's just that this flesh group has the power of the tribulation realm, and there is no change in it. The monster found in Chen's house. At any rate, it turned from a pupa to a worm, and finally turned into a human-like worm. But this meatball hasn't changed much. Luo Fengpa, it seems that this monster has something to do with the original innate creature. Jian Wushuang thought in his heart. After carefully inspecting the space, he was ready to leave. There is nothing else here, only this meatball. He took it away, but it was a curse. It's better to put it here. Before leaving, he became bolder. Scooped the pink meatball out of the vessel. The moment it was fished out, the surrounding space changed slightly. It's just that Jian Wushuang didn't find it. Chapter 57-58. This change, along with the vessel. The forbidden power of the upper division is still broken. This power is only useful for pink meatballs. The pink meatball was taken out, but it didn't feel any change. Jian Wushuang slipped in his hands and looked at it carefully. After not finding anything special, I tried to pinch the meatballs. Pinch it out of a human form. It's just the pink appearance, the round belly, and this thick whisker on his head. It's not like a person either. Just throwing it aside, Jian Wushuang lost any interest. He couldn't understand this kind of thing. Guyu time and space are so big. There are too many secrets. He didn't have time to crack them one by one. It's better to go to Shuangdu as soon as possible. With the introduction of Yunji Country Lord, he also wants to create the method again, to create a super eternal change. That is a complete improvement. The current eternal changes are just to improve the origin. The super eternal change will increase the combat power of the whole body. 50 times the normal is not a problem. Even if his emperor cannot succeed, he must do it in the robbery realm. Otherwise, I will suffer too much from the divine power in the future. After quickly breaking through the soil layer, after looking back at this place, Jian Wushuang said silently, "Hope, you will never appear." This is about that ball of meat. Crazy growth without an upper limit is terrible. The power of the ordinary tribulation realm cannot rush out of this place. It's okay to stay here for the rest of your life. Otherwise it is a scourge. The beetle from Yu Kingdom should be dealt with earlier. It's all a scourge. The unknown power is too terrifying. Don't let it go. The space is torn. Jian Wushuang flashed away and left. The reason for not killing the pink meatball. Also for unnecessary trouble. The other party can't get out anyway. He used his peak strength to get into the 30,000 square meter stratum. That flesh group doesn't have the supplement of vitality, now it's just a normal calamity realm, and it can't get out at all. So there is no need to kill. Just throw it wherever. But his act of kindness this time led to an unmatched monster. that is the scourge of Gumu continent and even the whole time and space. This also led to a great existence. This is also a story. Jian Wushuang left Lefengpo without causing any movement. In this way, he entered the Stone King's capital in peace. A stone city lying deep in the mountains. From a distance, it looked like a huge wild sacred beast, sleeping soundly. Jian Wushuang's thin figure is very small outside the giant city. The divine power is restrained and the source is not present. An ordinary emperor entered the Stone King's capital in this way. Tonghe Jianxian? Jian Wushuang played with the token given to him by the Lord Yunji, while starting to look for a Tonghe sword fairy who could help him. The opponent is also a super strong kendo. It's just that power is divine power. But the Tao is the same. Then you can take it along and learn from each other. On the sword, Royal Capital, North City. A gathering place for casual repairs and foreign powerhouses. Messy, bloody, and dirty. This is what Jian Wushuang has seen and heard. After entering the royal capital for 3 days, Jian Wushuang found out which mansion existed. By the way, I also learned some of the foundation of the Stone Country and some common sense. The Stone Country was developed in the barbaric era. The first emperor. Naturally, he is the ancestor of Shirgua. The 8 Tribulations realm is powerful. Still alive now. He is also the life and death friend of the flame god. It is a super country built by the two. But the flame is still making progress, but the ancestor of the Stone Country is no longer able to do so. But with the flame gods, the Stone Country is still strong. The 16 grass kingdoms, even with some secrets in the ancient wood continent, are still the largest country. If it weren't for the ancient wood faction, there is a strong title. It can be said that Shirgua is the first force. Although there is no master of the universe in the 7 Tribulations realm today. However, there are 3 masters of the universe in the 6 Tribulations realm. In addition to Shirxiu, who stands alone, there are 2 others. One is a guest Qin from Shirgua, who are both influential like Jian Wushuang. There is also a disciple of the flame god in the flame god kingdom. If there hadn't been a master of the universe of the 7 Tribulations realm in the generation of Gumu sect, I am afraid that none of them would be able to see it. Which saint is crossing the robbery? I don't know if it can succeed. If it succeeds, it will be able to stabilize for a few more times. Otherwise, the ancient wood continent will also change into the sky in the future. Jian Wushuang sat on a high place, looking at the chaotic Beiqing. He also understands why Shiguoguo is so powerful. Because it can accommodate people, regardless of righteousness. As long as the strength is strong enough, you can join the Stone Country. Any Tonghe sword immortal can settle here for Changxiu. I want to come because Shirgua has a certain charm. It's not just because of the flame god. Tonghe Jianxian, a master of the universe at the pinnacle of the 6 Tribulations realm. It is hidden in the chaotic North City. Jian Wushuang got out of the tea house, stopped a Feihu at random on the street, threw out hundreds of cosmic crystals, and said, "Go to Tianfu." No problem. Although the northern city of the royal capital is chaotic, it also has some rules. Can kill. However, Shirgua's intervention is needed, and the two fight fairly. Flight in the airspace is forbidden. This is a deadly order. If you violate it, you will fall. There was a 7 Tribulations realm who tried not to be afraid of death, but was eventually beheaded by the flame god. After that, no one dared to provoke. Tianfu. It's not someone's separate residence. It's a paradise in Beiqing. There is no chaotic order here, but some strict rules. After arriving here, Jian Wushuang could feel a force of majesty. There are very few people on the street. Most of them are ordinary emperors, like servants. Tianfu South. The number 7 House of Word. Jian Wushuang came to the outside of the house, looked at the plaque of Shangfen and nodded. It should be here. Tonghe Jianxian lives. He didn't expect to be so low-key. The mansion of number 7A is not spacious. It occupies the size of 100 miles. If the Lord of the Universe displays magical powers, it is a place to slap. Just as Jian Wushuang stepped forward, he was stopped by a forbidden force. There is no guard outside the door. Jian Wushuang could only have that warm jade. After feeling the warm jade, the force of prohibition stopped for a moment. Then the door opened. "This distinguished guest, please come in." Hearing no one, Jian Wushuang had some differences, but he still walked in. After entering, he discovered that the one who had just spoken to him was actually a statue. However, he arched his hand politely and said politely, "Please inform Senior Tongha, Junior Jian Wushuang come to see you. Please wait." The stone statue's face trembled stiffly. After a while, he opened his mouth again and said, "My host is in the front hall. Just walk along the road ahead and you can get there." Jian Wushuang thanked him and walked inside. This is a strange combination of sword immortal. There is no one in the mansion, but a stone statue to receive guests. Chapter 57-59. The Lord of the Universe in the Six Tribulations realm is also the overlord of one party. Some strange hobbies are normal. Perhaps not happy with the smoke and dust on earth. Jian Wushuang stepped forward and went directly to the guest hall. Junior Jian Wushuang, meet Senior Tongha. He did not go in directly, but first met him. You still have to be respectful when you ask people to do things. In the guest hall, an old voice came, "Come in." Jian Wushuang then cautiously walked into the guest hall. This place is extremely gloomy and cold. After entering the guest hall, he saw an old man with a huge bone, several feet high, sitting on the main seat. In the darkness, there are only a few sword lights. Sure enough, it was a bit strange. Jian Wushuang stepped forward, took out Nwanyu, and directly expressed his intention. He really didn't want to stay here. It's too dark. The Lord Yunji broke through and became the Lord of the Seven Tribulations universe. The old man did not go to congratulate him. It was a bit rude. "I will help you for your favor." It is a congratulation to the Lord. Tongha Jianxian gave a dry cough, seemingly weird. He speaks very modestly. Juniors like Jian Wushuang are still treated equally. This also made Jian Wushuang's heart loose. Tongha Jianxian handed a piece of dark metal directly to Jian Wushuang. The metal is dark all over, even darker than the night. I don't know what kind of material it belongs to. According to what Yunji said, want to merge? It is almost impossible. But everything has a thread. It is rumored that both the dark and the day can merge at a certain moment. Not to mention two forces. This dark metal is necessary to create the secret method. Black sparkle. It's not metal. It just looks like it. Jian Wushuang didn't expect it to go so smoothly, so he hurriedly bowed to thank him. "You don't need to be so polite. The Lord Yunji had that's nothing." Tongha Jianxian explained, "Since you can be entrusted to the Lord Yunji, I am afraid that it will be extraordinary. Can reach my level. This will be straightforward." Jian Wushuang still humbled a bit and quickly pushed back. "The junior is just a little emperor. How can I dare to imagine the Lord of the Six Tribulations realm universe? This is really humble." His heart is higher than anyone else's. Even the master of the Seven Tribulations realm universe, he was not convinced. "Believe that I will become such a strong man." This is the heart of the strong. You don't need to be modest. I can see that you are hiding your strength, or Jian Xiu. Tongha Jianxian spoke plainly and directly pointed out Jian Wushuang's hiding. Jian Wushuang would naturally not hide. 400,000 supernatural power, just look at it. He doesn't care anymore. Speaking of Jian Xiu, the two have a common topic. Jian Wushuang also took the opportunity to ask for some advice about Shunli Jianxiu. Learned a lot from it. Of course, we are still studying more methods of integration. Super eternal change after fusion. That is his pinnacle secret method. The starry sky is recorded in the Emperor. In fact, it is not the strongest. After the robbery realm, he has thoroughly mastered some time and space origins before qualitative changes will occur. One sword, breaking the space, is the Emperor. When time is broken, it is the pinnacle of the universe. This is also the terrible time and space. Compared with pure divine power, his methods are a bit more. "Senior, I don't know if I can compare one or two?" Jian Wushuang said embarrassedly. Comparing with the Six Tribulations realm's great power was also due to what he said. As soon as he said this, Tongha Jianxian was taken aback for a moment, and then he leaked some smiles. But my heart is more excited. Sword repair, but the best fight. Especially to learn from fellow students. Seeing such a good junior like Jian Wushuang, he also itchy hands. It's just that Jian Wushuang is an emperor, and he is the lord of the universe, so it's hard to speak. But right here, there were crisp footsteps outside the guest hall. Judging from the footsteps alone, the other party is a woman. Grandpa. Before the person arrived, he heard a smile like a silver bell. Jian Wushuang also turned his head in surprise at this time. He didn't expect that this Tongha Sword Immortal also had a granddaughter. In the news of the inquiries, there is no such person. Seeing Jian Wushuang surprised, Tongha Jianxian smiled. Mingger girl, why are you here? Tongha Jianxian stood up, his face leaking under the sword light. Only then did Jian Wushuang see the opponent's appearance clearly. The girl named Mingger was equally surprised when she saw Jian Wushuang. After taking a look, he turned to Tongha Jianxian and immediately asked, Grandpa, who is he? This straightforward temperament seems to be a pro-granddaughter. Although Tongha Jianxian spoiled this granddaughter, he did not answer directly. Instead, he said to Jian Wushuang, Little friend Wushuang should be offended, this is an old granddaughter. Junior didn't dare. It was abrupt this time. I don't know if there is a granddaughter in the senior, and he hasn't prepared some meeting gifts. Jian Wushuang waved his hand quickly. But as soon as he said this, he regretted it a little. The girl said unceremoniously, Since there is no gift, just give me hundreds of millions of cosmic crystals. I don't have any hobbies, I just like cosmic crystals. Yes, it should. Jian Wushuang regarded it as pocket money for a junior. He took out tens of thousands of square meters of source stone, put it into another mustard seed, and handed it to the other party. Tongha Jianxian had a headache. This also has a lot to do with the birthplace of his granddaughter. The girl was stunned when she saw the source stones, and then said in amazement, This doesn't seem to be a universe crystal, right? Jian Wushuang was ashamed, he didn't expect this to be said. Tongha Jianxian quickly explained to him, Girl, this is the source stone, and one party is 10,000 universe crystals. Ah! The girl exclaimed, and then bowed respectfully at Jian Wushuang, thanking him, Thank you, senior, for your gift. Jian Wushuang swallowed, This strange character is really unique. Hundreds of millions of cosmic crystals, for Tongha Sword Immortal, it is a matter of buckling nails. The girl in front of her seemed like she had never seen anything before. And it seemed that she was very surprised that she could really give her hundreds of millions of universe crystals. Looked at the look of joy. Jian Wushuang began to suspect that Tongha Jianxian was stingy. How can such a doting granddaughter be like a dog? But then, Tongha Jianxian Chuanin explained everything to him. This also made him understand why Tongha Jianxian chose this relatively low-key mansion, and there were no servants in the mansion. It turned out that the Mingger girl was the son of Tongha Sword Fairy who had stayed in the ordinary world. Tongha Jianxian pursued with all his heart, and his son wanted to follow in his father's footsteps. He has been wandering around in the ordinary, but accidentally entered the Gumu continent through teleportation. Unfortunately, the qualifications are not good. When it comes to immortal, it is already at its peak. He wants to return to his hometown. But his world has never even heard of 9 heavens and 10 earths. After arriving in Gumu continent, he heard that King Stone had a teleportation formation and could go to any place. Chapter 5760. He came to Shergua with the attitude of trying. An immortal fairy, in the outer domain. Go to Shergua. This part of the journey may be compiled into a book, especially to be able to reach Stone Country alive. It's luck against the sky. This belongs to the luck of self-cultivation, which is all used on the road. It's a pity that when I came to Shergua, I couldn't sit on that teleportation formation. Later he gave up too. On the way, he was worthy of his life. I got acquainted with my Taoist couple and lived in King Stone. It's a pity that neither of them is emperor, and it is difficult to survive. During a mining trip, the husband and wife both died. One daughter was left behind, the current Mingger girl. When her parents fell, the girl was still mundane. Throw it on the street, no one took a look at the mundane. Fortunately, the skin looks good. He was sold to Tianfu and became a maid. Suffered from childhood. To live, to be free. She kept accumulating the universe crystals, by serving tea and water to the big figures, setting up the fairy tales, and even serving as a walking ladder. Just for some rewarding universe crystals. Because as long as there are enough cosmic crystals, she can get a free body. So much so that now she still loves money like her life. She didn't want the universe crystal that Tonghe Jianxian gave her. Because in her world, it is her own things, not earned by her, there is no sense of accomplishment. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang started to classify. The later story, although Tonghe Jianxian did not tell. But he also understands. The maid's life is worthless. If you have enough universe crystals, you can't escape the cage. Facing the seventh calamity, Tonghe Jianxian's cultivation stagnated, and when he returned to his home world, he found that his only son had also been lost. Through the power of blood, he found the stone country. Only the living granddaughter was found in the end. I saw my young granddaughter serving tea and pouring water as a walking staircase. He had a terrible rage at the time. But when the grandparents recognized each other, they pleaded with those who squeezed and suppressed her. The cage has never been broken. This needs to be broken by yourself. After Tonghe Jianxian understood, the granddaughter did not want to leave the stone country, so she settled here. No wonder there are no servants in the mansion. Because the girl bought batch after batch of servants, and then returned them to free life. Great good. Jian Wushuang sighed with emotion. I don't know if this girl is lucky or bad. The good thing is that there is such a grandfather, the master of the universe in the six tribulations realm, a great backer. What's bad luck is the tragic experience of childhood. She was supposed to be a girl in fresh clothes riding a horse. She was arrogant and domineering. But he lived into such a tragic appearance. Li Ming'er! Jian Wushuang shouted. The girl looked back, and when she wanted to bow to him again, she was stopped by his hand. He looked at the girl and said with a smile, Girl, I'm going to discuss with your grandfather later. You can see who of us can win. There will be rewards for the correct guess. Wow, really? Li Ming'er couldn't believe it. She was just mundane. She couldn't see how strong Jian Wushuang was, and she didn't know who her grandfather was. In her world, both of them are super strong. She rubbed her hands with a little excitement, and then said, I'll win you. Jian Wushuang pointed at himself in disbelief. Li Ming'er nodded confirmingly. This made Jian Wushuang unexpected. Is it because he just gave the benefits, so I think he can win? But in the next weak thought power, Jian Wushuang heard Li Ming'er whisper to Tonghe Jianxian, preparing to let the master of the universe at the pinnacle of the dignified six tribulations realm deliberately lose to him as an emperor. This makes him feel a little funny, but also very funny. Old Tonghe Jianxian blushed, but he nodded dotingly. For the granddaughter, it is not impossible to lose to an emperor. Okay, let's open it up. Li Ming'er didn't know where to bring a small stool, and took out the golden pastry dessert from his arms, and waited for the two to make a move while eating. As soon as Tonghe Jianxian raised his hand, the guest hall instantly changed into a snow-capped mountain. Li Ming'er was stunned for a moment, then looked overjoyed, carefully packed his snacks and put it in his arms, grabbing the snow on the ground and playing. Childlike innocence. Senior, you are offended. Jian Wushuang arched his hands slightly. A finger in the depths of Tonghe Jianxian, outside of the divine power, that withered finger, instantly golden light appeared. I will say that the divine power is suppressed to about 100,000. This is the limit of the emperor. Come on. As soon as Jian Wushuang's right hand pressed hard, a blue arrogant divine sword appeared. Juin, who had been with him for a long time, was broken. He was too embarrassed to take a broken sword out to compete with a powerful man. Had to use the invisible sword. The invisible sword condensed by the power of the starry sky is not weaker than the treasure of the universe. 100,000 times the supernatural power. Jian Wushuang's brows and heart beat. With pure divine power, he could indeed crush Tonghe Jianxian. But the increase in kendo is no joke. Each sword of Tonghe Jianxian contained more than 500,000 divine powers. Jian Wushuang didn't use the power of the beast god, so he could only deal with it carefully. A finger represents a sword. The invisible blue divine sword, like ripples in the sky, is calm but extremely cunning. Although Tonghe Jianxian's sword aura was strong, he couldn't touch Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang was able to entangle, but he couldn't take the initiative to attack. For a while, some stalemate stayed in place. Little friend, you should go all out. As soon as Tonghe Jianxian's voice fell, his fingers pointed upwards, 10,000 ripples emerged, and then turned into countless sword qi, swept towards Jian Wushuang with a wave. The core strength of this wave is definitely more than 500,000. And every further step, the power will stack up once. Jian Wushuang didn't dare to retreat, so he could only take it hard. He clenched his fists with both hands, the blue divine sword was horizontally in front of him, and he burst out, and his divine power surged in an instant. Now his combat power, if it is the strongest, is still divine power. Because there are too many blessings from the beasts. This is all based on the condensed generals of the Guantian chessboard. Able to guard his divine body. The power of the beast god. The original power of the beast has doubled, and it has reached the peak. But now he has performed 3 times. Jiang Jia ran wildly, Guantian chessboard appeared under his feet, and his supernatural power instantly broke 600,000. Eventually it stopped at around 680,000. The blue divine sword in front of him was just a light wave. The wave that swept away was instantly extinguished. Tonghe Jianxianmu was shocked, and the emperor's body instantly shattered. Without suppression, he is the master of the universe in the 6 tribulations realm. Although Jian Wushuang's move is very powerful, it can be easily broken by the master of the universe in the 6 tribulations realm. But Tonghe Jianxian didn't think so. Jian Wushuang is just an emperor. He is the master of the universe in the 6 tribulations realm. If he was the lord of the 5 tribulations realm universe, I am afraid that he would be able to fight Jian Wushuang back and forth without suppressing his divine power. Chapter 5761. I lost. Tonghe Jianxian had already lost when he showed his full strength. Jian Wushuang also accepted the power of the beast god. The moment he lost Jiang Jia, his divine body was shaking. If there was no general armor, his divine body would have collapsed long ago. Senior swordsmanship is wonderful, and the younger generation can be regarded as an experience this time. The fight just now has benefited him a lot. Being able to fight the 6 tribulations realm is not a lot of opportunities. By the way, he also learned about the methods of those super strong, especially the division of divine power. 1,000,000 supernatural powers is a relatively large threshold. With more than 1,000,000 divine powers, it would be able to destroy the Gumu continent itself. In the entire Guyu time and space, he can be regarded as a strong man. Those 7 tribulations realm back then were also right. Only 1,000,000 supernatural powers are considered strong. The Lord of the Universe in the 6 tribulations realm can reach millions. In one's own dojo, even 1.5 million divine powers can explode. If it's just scattered robbery. The peak of the divine power of the 6 tribulations realm is about 1 million. If there is too little vitality, it will not be able to exert 1,000,000 supernatural powers. In general, the divine power of the 6 tribulations realm is between 700,000 and 1.5 million. Of course it counts the Lord of the Universe. If you don't count as the Lord of the Universe, just talk about tribulation realm. Then the top sky is 1.5 million. 7 tribulation realm powerhouses are more than 1 million. For example, the Blood Knife Ancestor can burst out 2 million divine power. Although it is a scattered robbery, because of its ample vitality, it has the top combat power of the 7 tribulations realm, comparable to the ordinary master of the universe. Kingdom Lord Yunji just broke through the 7 tribulations realm and became the Lord of the universe. The current divine power should be around 2 million. But if it were in his own universe, he might be able to explode more than 3 million divine powers. Jian Wushuang's heart was trembling. 3 million supernatural powers. What does that mean? There is also the special character of Soul Tiendi. Although it was a scattered robbery in the Seven Tribulations realm, but with a special secret method, blood stained the entire eternal kingdom. It can explode about 5 million divine powers, which is much stronger than the tidal powerhouse of the Seven Tribulations realm. Of course, the courageous spirit is not in his own cosmic dojo. If you are in your own dojo, you are not afraid of the Soul Emperor in the slightest. But the previous battle was not in the lair of bravery. It was a loss. But this loss is nothing to him. At most, some face was lost. Soul Tiendi is different. The power from his blood sacrifice will only slowly diminish. The power of the gods, but with the blessing of the universe, is continuous. The reason why the Emperor Soul Tian is eager to perform is mostly due to the method created by Emperor Bobby. If he can have the origin of death like Dylan without any vitality, he can improve his divine power, that is the real 8 Tribulations realm. Not only the Soul Heaven Emperor longed for this power, but all Sanjia longed for this power. This time it was exposed. It is a signal. According to Emperor Bobby's itinerary, I am afraid that he is going to find the Lord Yunji. But by accident, he encountered an irony look. Although Dylan lost, he also showed a terrifying warfare. This news, I'm afraid it will be able to spread to Guyue God sect soon. Bobby's intention. Make him puzzled. Maybe in the near future, some big things will happen. Jian Wushuang didn't dare to think about it now. What he needs to do is to become a catastrophe. Otherwise, let alone save Qishan Temple, he himself might have to get in. Now after getting the key treasure, he also needs to find a place to accelerate his practice. The sword blank must be settled as soon as possible. He once again took out some source stones to give to Witch Li Minger, and then said goodbye directly. Originally planned to ask about the Foundry Master, but after thinking about it, this matter has never been able to bypass Fan Tianfeng. It's better to talk about it. It's easy to reach the other person. The two are in the same country, and within a short distance, they can communicate with each other through tokens refined by the true spirit. The kingdom of flame gods is just beside the royal capital. Jian Wushuang sent the message directly, and Fan Tianfeng was able to receive it. 3 days later, he came to the most prosperous tea house in North City and waited for Fan Tianfeng's appearance. The two agreed to be here. I just don't know if Fan Tianfeng will give him this face. Why is her luck so good? Jian Wushuang shook his head with a wry smile. If he is a descendant of the gods, he can still be valued. Then there are these things. Just sit and practice. Opportunities will be sent to him. This kind of good thing happened to Fan Tianfeng. It's annoying to say it. At present he only met Fan Tianfeng. Huiqing saw a clone in Guyu ruins. As a result, Huiqing told him not to go to the ancient moon ruins. The more he said that, the more curious he became. As for the rest, it was not optimistic. But I saw Fan Tianfeng, who was so good. He didn't dare to underestimate other people. Except for the hapless Wu Zua, there should be no bad luck. When he thought of Wu Zua at the remote boundary of Guyu time and space, Wu Zua in a certain cosmic secret realm only felt upset and frowned. He was really unlucky. Just after being reincarnated in Guyu time and space, he arrived in a dangerous place. But he was in this dangerous place and unexpectedly got a powerful inheritance. Now he is practicing in retreat. It's a pity that he can't get out of this secret realm. Unless you become the master of the universe. Speaking of it, it's unlucky. This secret realm is also famous throughout Guyu time and space. Wuhua Secret Realm. It is very far away from 9 heavens and 10 places. The 10 people in Qishan Temple each have their own opportunities and are constantly moving forward. Among the 10 of them, there are strong and weak. Can be luck, but not ordinary. Strong people like Huiqing are directly trapped in the ancient moon ruins. Don't talk about chance, it's hard to protect yourself. Jian Wushuang was not much better. On the other hand, those of average strength, Wu Zuot and Fan Tianfeng. These two people, they are all the best in the age of Qishan. Being able to become a tribulation realm is actually pretty good. But since entering the ancient moon time and space, the realm and chances have been constantly smashed down, and in the faint, these two people have also become the sons of the atmosphere. Jian Wushuang in the tea house has many thoughts. Thinking of Qi Temple, I also thought of extinction. For a time, the pressure surged. But at this moment, a familiar breath came, directly pushed the door in. It is Fan Tianfeng. This time, she came alone, without an accompanying guard. Jian Wushuang has some differences. He thought that Fan Tianfeng would show up in front of him, but he didn't expect to be so low-key this time. It's a good start. Please. Jian Wushuang turned around from the window and sincerely invited Fan Tianfeng into his seat. The two sat down to each other. Before he could speak, Fan Tianfeng took the lead and said, "What's the matter, right? So happy." Jian Wushuang felt that the person in front of him was nothing like the previous day. Chapter 5762. Seeing Jian Wushuang's slightly suspicious eyes, Fan Tianfeng sneered. "You don't think I really forgot where I came from?" He picked up the tea cup and drank it, and then explained the tea. "This tea is produced in a small country, far away from here. The strong specialize in picking from that small country, and the price is extremely low, but in the stone country, it is extremely valuable and you will spend it by then. No matter how expensive the tea is, it also grows on the ground. Just like Fan Tianfeng, no matter how high his status is now. That also came out of Qishan Temple. How dare you forget?" "Okay." Jian Wushuang leaked out of joy and then said, "Since you have said so, then I will not hide it. This time there is indeed something that needs your help." Then he talked about the refining of sword blanks and said it out. "By the way, I also talked about the matter of the holy meeting. Since the other party treated each other so frankly, he did not hide it. If you treat me as your own person, you are naturally your own." Jian Wushuang saw it thoroughly. At this time, you need to compare your heart to your heart. Wan Lu Shenmu. Fan Tianfeng heard that there was no difference, and then shook his head and replied, "I am not interested in this. After a while, I will prepare to retreat. I have already grasped the tribulation realm and become the world's best in a short time. It is not difficult for the Lord, and will bring a group of strong people back." Back here, Jian Wushuang knew where it was. He was going to persuade him. You can see the firm attitude of the other party. Did not say anything more. Now it's better to ask someone to do something and follow it. You don't have to worry about getting rid of the grass and scaring the snake. Fan Tianfeng sneered as if he had penetrated Jian Wushuang's thoughts. "This time I return, I will bring the 7 tribulations realm strong, and the ancestors' law bodies will also follow me to the Qishan Temple, which won the extinction is only half a step in the 7th order calamity realm. Even the temporal supreme treasure extinction temple can't stop it." Time and space treasure. Jian Wushuang raised his brows. It seems that Fan Tianfeng also knows about the treasure of time and space. There is nothing in Guyu time and space. Those time and space treasures are most likely to be brought out from the heavens by extinction. The extinction comes from the starry sky. Thinking of this, the Guantian chessboard in the origin of Jian Wushuang rose. This treasure may also come from the stars. So it also shows that Xian Yi is also a powerhouse in the starry sky. This makes sense. No wonder Fan Tianfeng was so anxious to go back. I am afraid that the high probability is also to grab the treasure of time and space. At the beginning, True Spirit told Fan Tianfeng that this Qi temple belonged to her after all. Zhen Ling said that to almost everyone. Take it seriously this time. Fan Tianfeng took the strong to go. Killing life is a small matter. To the treasure of time and space is a big deal. Otherwise, it won't bring so many strong people. Even the Dharma body of the flame will go. This flame giant has the top combat power of the 8 tribulations realm. The magic body of divine power, as long as it is well maintained, has enough divine power. Not even inferior to the deity. At the very least, it is also the combat power of the 8 tribulations realm. Maybe it can really get rid of extinction. But if you really want to get rid of extinction, his reincarnation time and space will be out of play. The origin of the starry sky, the time and space of reincarnation. This is the strongest way he can think of. Once he has mastered the reincarnation, he may be able to escape the catastrophe. Go directly to a higher level. No! Jian Wushuang suddenly thought of Jiang Shang. He also has the power of life, although he doesn't know where it came from. But it has a slightly weaker life force than him. It should not be congenital. Even if it is acquired, if you take a step back from the extinction and swallow Jiang Shang, you will be qualified to master samsara. Backhand. Jiang Shang is the second player. 1 step to extinction counts as 100 steps. How could it not be considered a future change? This time Fan Tianfeng returned with the strong, with a high probability that he would not succeed. Thinking of this, Jian Wushuang was not thinking about it. Persuade the other party, I am afraid they will be called jealous. Whoever goes back first and who can defeat extinction will be able to take over the treasures of time and space. This temptation is too great. That is the treasure of time and space spread from the starry sky. 9 core time and space are not necessarily available. Jian Wushuang simply didn't say anything. It's just a reminder to be careful of extinction. It's also a kind words. Here is a letter of recommendation. It is the number 1 caster in the Stone Kingdom, and the famous caster in ancient Wood Continent, as well as the entire Guyu time and space. It should be enough to build a sword blank for you. Fan Tianfeng handed the recommendation letter to him. Jian Wushuang then added, Don't be too self-righteous, I just feel that the Jueyun sword is too much an eye. Jian Wushuang smashed his mouth. He hasn't spoken yet. But since it was so direct, he was not welcome anymore. Carefully took the letter of recommendation and included it in the mustard seed. Except for this matter, he found that he didn't seem to have much to say with the other party. After making a few polite remarks at random, Fan Tianfeng has no plans to leave yet. Seeing what the other party said and couldn't say, Jian Wushuang seemed to understand. The other party should look down on the bright things on his body. Also the beast warrior got on the table. But it is not suitable for Fan Tianfeng. The candle dragon is the beast of gold. Fan Tianfeng is a descendant of the flame god. He has read the catalogue of the flame god. It looks like a 9-legged bird. Anyway, it doesn't match the golden space at all. In addition to the beast soldiers, the treasure on his face was the Jueyun sword. Jueyun the Great. Fan Feng, who was at the time, is also a sister. Think about it, the other party wants the Jueyun sword. No wonder he was so polite when he came. When he heard that he wanted to build a sword blank, he directly recommended the best casting master. So I just wanted this sword. Jian Wushuang drew Jueyun from behind. The source of the upper point was repaired by him, but the crack was still there. Saw him draw a sword. Fan Tianfeng couldn't help but look up. I wanted to act calmly. But after seeing the crack on Jueyun, he stood up and said angrily, How did this sword break? When I was fighting, I hit it right away, and it was broken. Jian Wu was bilingual in pity. Jian has been with him for some time. It can be said that he witnessed the process of getting the emperor. It also assisted him to display the catalogue of the starry sky. He is by far the most powerful kendo method. Nowadays they are rarely used. It's because Jueyun sword's load capacity is too weak. Pity. People. What a pity. If the great Emperor Jueyun could recover, he would be a remarkable existence in this era. The most powerful emperor in the entire Guyu time and space, that great priest. It is equivalent to the great Emperor Jueyun. But the great Emperor Jueyun was in a small place in the middle reaches of Morwa time and space. If it is in Guyue time and space or within the 9 great time and space, achievement will not weaken him. Seeing Fan Tianfeng so excited, Jian Wushuang was still a little uncomfortable. The two are sisters, but they are also enemies. Why do you care so much now? Chapter 5763. Fan Tianfeng's complexion changed after he felt a little gaffe, and his voice was cold. Since you got it, you should cherish it. Jian Wushuang had no words to refute this time. It was indeed like this. But in that situation, he couldn't resist the blood needle with his body. I heard. Jian Wushuang did not finish speaking, but handed Zhu Yunjian over. The intention is obvious. He knows the relationship between the two. This sword can also be regarded as a family relic. It's time to return it to Fan Tianfeng. Fan Tianfeng did not refuse, and after taking over the Jueyun sword, he turned around and left. When she reached the threshold, she turned her eyes slightly, and her voice softened. In Shirgua, if you need help, you can contact me at any time. Never you are welcome. Jian Wushuang replied loudly. Watching the other party leave, he then took out a letter of recommendation, thinking about building a sword blank. In the past few days, he also got some news from Beijing. The royal capital of East City almost belonged to the forces of the Flame God Kingdom. It is also the place where the founding divisions started the school. No one had recommended it before, so he couldn't go. Now it is time to go and take a look. Dongqing is a puppet. Jian Wushuang floated. Compared with Beijing, the practitioners in this place are totally different. Here is the sky. Almost everywhere on the street, you can see casters wearing dark red robes. On their chests, there is this piece of badge. The most common caste gods are only the 9th grade. Immortal immortals, or emperors can get started. The 8th rank casting master needed the strength of the emperor, otherwise he wouldn't even be able to master the equipment. Most of the caste gods who can be seen everywhere on the street are 9th rank and 8th rank. After walking for a long time, I arrived at the busiest street. He only saw several 7th rank casting gods and a 6th rank casting god. Zhurongdao. The busiest street in Dongqing. On this road, there are at least thousands of shops opened by caste gods. Each family has a banner. Almost all the masters of the caste are of their own. Those who can open a shop on this street are all casters with rank 6 or above. In other words, in the entire royal capital, there are more than 1,000 6th-rank foundry masters. Even more. Because from the information he learned. This street. In the first-class casting hall, at least there are dozens of casting masters of rank 6 or above. The number has to be increased several times. I thought that when he was in Qishan Temple, the old man with horns was also a caster, and he probably had a 6th rank. However, he has fallen. Also fell in the time and space of the original universe. Cannot be resurrected. The original side is the last one. After a long breath, he continued to walk forward. A, B, C, Ding's casting hall. He doesn't like it. The strongest stores in the first class are also the caste gods under the second class. Fan Tianfeng recommended him to be the number 1 casting in ancient Wood Continent. It is the signboard of God's name. This is the whole street. The caster inside, the weakest is the 6th rank. And the 6th grade here can only do miscellaneous tasks. Outer disciples all start at the 4th rank. The disciples of the inner sect are generally at the 3rd rank or even the 2nd rank. Only when you reach the 1st grade realm will you become a direct disciple. The casting masters of the entire Stone Kingdom are also number 1. Almost all are this powerful disciple. Even the master of wine is also the disciple of this existence. And it's only an inner disciple, not a personal biography. There are only 3 disciples of this mighty direct disciple. Rumor has it that everyone is in the 7 Tribulations realm. 7 Tribulation realm powerhouse. Which casting master is also in the 7 Tribulations realm. It is conceivable to be able to let the strong of the same rank be able to approve the head. How attractive this heritage will be. It's just that Jian Wushuang is not interested in casting anymore. That's it. Jian Wushuang raised his head and glanced, then he was about to step in. At this moment, I heard a familiar voice. And a very familiar breath. Jian Wushuang turned his head and looked at it. A rustic girl followed a group of casting masters, pouting at the end. From a distance, she was not the same person at all. But he can see that there is a connection. I didn't intend to pay attention to it, but after listening carefully, I understood everything. He didn't expect that this stingy girl would be so generous at this time. This is 2 billion universe crystals. I said I can get them together. Li Ming'er looked bright at this moment. Which young emperor who had left the team leaked a surprised look and quickly asked where he came from. But when I saw the girl's weird explanation, I didn't ask too much, so he took it directly. You're welcome. Eating soft rice, to this level made Jian Wushuang a little bit overwhelmed. Ming'er, thank you so much this time. I am following my master to come to Lashendian to study, and I need this universe crystal. The young man has a profound cultivation base. Li Ming'er smiled and said, small things, when I meet another senior, I will ask for it again. The young man touched the medal on his chest, and the number on the top represented the 8th rank. This is an emperor. But Li Ming'er is just an immortal. Jian Wushuang frowned. He was not so arrogant as he was eating the soft food of Yugua. This kid lied to people, but his face was not red and his heart beat. If it is known to Senior Tongha, it won't be cut with a single sword. It's not easy for him to come forward directly with this kind of thing. I wrote it down first. When you have the opportunity, you must teach the other party a lesson. Guests stay. Jian Wushuang was just about to enter this hall of God's name. He was stopped by a man in a purple robe. The other side's chest has the mark on the 5th rank. But in the temple it was just a janitor. Jian Wushuang didn't say much, stopped, and directly wrote a letter of recommendation there. After seeing the flame god's sign, the man was stunned for a moment, then his face was surprised. He couldn't see the realm of Jian Wushuang, but he saw this letter of recommendation. But from the bottom of my heart, I believe that Jian Wushuang is definitely a big man. Senior, come with me. The purple-robed man greeted people quickly, took Jian Wushuang to the resting place, and then took the recommendation letter to the depths of the temple. There is only one layer on the surface of the temple. But underground, there are several floors. Handyman, only the first 3 levels of authority. On the 4th floor underground, couldn't enter. A purple-robed youth reached the entrance of the 4th floor, handed the letter to an inner disciple, and returned to the main hall. Jian Wushuang was sitting in the upper position, sipping the best tea. The guy who had just coaxed Li Ming'er outside at this time followed a few 6th rank or so caste gods, and also entered here. It's just that they don't even have a place to sit, so they just stand in the corner. The old man who took the lead seemed to be the master who deceived Li Ming'er. Jian Wushuang's gaze kept staring at the man, thinking about how to teach well. The source stone sent by his front foot was cheated away by his backhand. Hateful. It's time to kill. Chapter 5764. An emperor does not learn well. Learn to eat soft rice. Shameless. The purple-robed young man who went to the top of the wall trot all the way to Jian Wushuang's side and found that he was staring at the group of people in the corner. Thinking that it was blocking Jian Wushuang's eyes, he quickly scolded, "Who brought these people? Hurry up and send them away. Haven't you seen any distinguished guests here?" The tone at this time was completely reversed from that of Jian Wushuang's treatment. It's like a caster with a harsh and cold personality. Hear the words of the purple-robe youth. Several rank 6 handymen quickly apologized, and then walked towards the pedestrian angrily. Jian Wushuang stood up at this moment and interrupted, "Forget it, these people are destined to this seat, let them stay." After hearing these words, the purple-robed youth's complexion changed drastically, and an amiable smile appeared on his face. Since they are friends of the predecessors, take them to the 1st level to observe. But there are still people queuing up ahead. A handyman who had just joined the temple interrupted the words of the purple-robed youth. The purple-robed youth's complexion changed, and he said coldly, "Then drive them away, and let these miscellaneous fishes come in less in the future." This, which rank 6 handyman hesitated. "Don't go." The purple-robed youth, feeling that his majesty was a little ineffective, immediately shouted. The faces of the people in the frightened corner were shaking. "You guys, wait a moment, the people on the 1st floor are cleaned up, and you will be allowed to observe. There is tea here, please feel free." The purple-robed youth squeezed out a smile and beckoned to everyone. Jian Wushuang looked shocked. This is a different person from the facade. His face changed faster than the sky. "Senior, the elder sent a message and said he would take you to the 9th floor. The purple-robed youth hunched over and said cautiously. This 5th rank casting master was at least the master of the universe in the 3 tribulations realm. It's so humble. Didn't you say something, the arrogant caste of the gods? It turns out that that set is for the weak. His strength makes the other party unable to see through. Certainly think he is the powerful master of the universe. Plus the recommendation letter comes from the flame god. This is the sky of Shurgwa. Who dares to treat it carelessly? Lead the way. Jian Wushuang stood up, his hands behind his back. I also experienced the treatment of a powerful person. As he walked past the casting masters who came to observe, Jian Wushuang glanced at the young man who had deceived Li Ming'er. Then followed which purple-robed youth into the underground casting hall. After he left, the few people in the corner breathed a sigh of relief. Which predecessor just now, in what status, actually made the god-casting master of the 5th rank of the temple so respectful? Is it a cosmic master of the 5 tribulations realm? I don't think it is necessary. Even the Lord of the universe in the 5 tribulations realm does not need to be treated like the people of the temple. It may come from a certain big powers Tianjiao. The young man who coaxed Li Ming'er, recalling Jian Wushuang's eyes, secretly vowed in his heart that he would become such a character in the future. But he kept on. A character like Jian Wushuang, before long, will send him to see the goddess of Guyu Shikong. After entering the underground hall, Jian Wushuang discovered that the structure and stratum density of this place were the same as those at Lufengpo. Every floor of this place is 10,000 feet high. Entering the 3rd level is his limit state. But there are 9 floors here. The first 3 floors are just some disciples from the outer sect. After the 4th floor is the disciple of the inner door. There are only direct disciples on the 7th floor. On the 8th floor, no one can enter except for a powerful person. And this time he wants to enter the 9th floor. That is 90,000 zhang underground in the royal capital. Naturally, it is impossible for the entire royal capital to have this stratum mystery. It can open up 90,000 feet alone. I'm afraid which flame opened this place in the first place. Only the power of the 8 tribulations realm can open up so deep. When he reached the 4th floor, a woman was replaced to lead him. For the first 3 floors he hasn't felt anything yet. But after reaching the 4th floor he felt a rush of heat. So much so that the casters here wear very cool clothes. For example, the casting who led him. There are only a few pieces of cloth on the upper body. It doesn't look big and the material is special, so it should be used to escape the heat. Refining here is the treasure of the universe, and the flames needed are naturally very powerful. It's normal to wear less. This place can be regarded as the important place of the temple. Jian Wushuang also avoided looking around, but staring at the woman leading the way. Although it is unsightly, in order to respect the temple, this is also compelling. Senior, there will be seniors on the 7th floor, and I will send you here. When you return, there will be seniors here to guide you. Jian Wushuang gave a dry cough and thanked him. Just keep up with the 3rd leader. On the 7th floor, there is no such hot feeling but a little cool. And no one. He looked around, all of which were closed rooms. The place I passed was just a narrow road. Entrance to the 8th floor. No one took the lead. This fellow Taoist, I can only send it here. After you enter, you only need to keep walking forward to see the entrance of the 9th floor. Thank you. Jian Wushuang arched his hands. This is a personal disciple. The power of the 7 tribulations realm. Although it is not the Lord of the universe, it is also a remarkable existence. Naturally be polite. After thanking a disciple who taught him personally, he went straight to the 8th floor. After entering, I discovered that it was a completely enclosed space. Keep going. He felt cheated. There is no road here. That can keep going. There is endless darkness at the end. Just when he was at a loss, there was a sound of metal collision around him. Jian Wushuang followed the voice and looked at it. In the darkness, a pair of red eyes appeared. The red eyes made a hum, and then countless red eyeballs appeared here. Jian Wushuang was also taken aback. He felt that he was deceived by Fan Tianfeng. The other party is still so careful. The owners of these red eyes are monster puppets. Each one has the power of the Lord of the universe, at least the master of the universe in the 3 tribulations realm. This combat power is not weak. Without a puppet, you reading www. Akanshu. Kam has a supernatural power of nearly 300,000. If it weren't for his special origin, he wouldn't be able to feel the puppet's divine power. They won't besiege me. Jian Wushuang laughed at himself. The puppets here are not 10,000 but 8,000. It would be no good if he besieged him. But when he just thought so, the puppets rushed towards him as if they had gone mad. The divine power is similar to what he calculated, about 300,000. But the material is special. The material of each puppet can withstand more than 400,000 attacks. This was tested by Jian Wushuang himself. Chapter 5765. Because just now, he exploded 400,000 supernatural power with one punch, hitting the puppet, and it was actually just retreating. It cannot be damaged at all. And he also discovered that there are ciphertexts in the space here. Equivalence with the puppet. That is to say, these puppets can form a battle formation. Under normal circumstances, he quickly couldn't stand it. If he goes out again, it will be even more difficult for him. The power of the beast god. The dark red aura on his body erupted, and his divine power instantly reached 500,000. The surrounding breath can shake back those puppets. Thanks, Tusk. Jian Wushuang was confident. He didn't believe that Fan Tianfeng would really want to attack him. There is a high probability that you still have to avenge your enemies in Vietnam. Take the opportunity to teach him a lesson. Sure enough, the same as he thought. In the 9th floor, there is an old man with a white beard sitting on the throne, holding the ball in his hand. Don't look at it as an inconspicuous little ball, but it is a treasure that can shake the entire Gumu continent. Because of this small ball, you can manipulate the puppets on the 8th floor. The 8th foot has 9,000 puppets with 300,000 supernatural powers. There are also 900 puppets with 500,000 supernatural powers. From bottom to top, there are 90 puppets of 700,000 supernatural powers. There are 9 puppets with 1,000,000 powers. A total of 9,999. Wherever these puppets are simply placed, they will have the combat power of the 7 Tribulations realm. If a battle formation is formed, it will not be comparable to the 8 Tribulations realm. At least it has the power of the Lord of the 7 Tribulations realm. This can indeed shake the entire Gumu continent. This little guy, it's interesting. Holding the ball, the old man has already begun to mobilize 900 and 500,000 puppets. When he received the recommendation letter, he was also very surprised. It turned out to be a teacher's letter. After seeing the content, he knew which young master meant. This young master is terrible, and the flame gods are paying great attention to it. Since I asked him, I naturally wanted to help. The main thing is that Fan Tianfeng holds the secret of the treasure of time and space. The old man is also curious about the treasure of time and space, and wants to observe it. Otherwise, he wouldn't tease Jian Wushuang. Even if Fan Tianfeng's status was special, he couldn't directly order a 7 Tribulations realm great power. What's more, the identity of this old man is the #1 casting in Gumu continent. Star refining. The first refining of ancient Wood continent. The status is comparable to the 8 Tribulations realm. Even the 8 Tribulations realm was polite to him. Moreover, his strength was not average. He had once shot a cosmic master in the 7 Tribulations realm. The most precious treasures in his hand, just a few pieces on the surface, all have the power of the 8 Tribulations realm. In the entire ancient Wood continent, can be ranked in the top 5 super strong. The first is hard to say. Although the flame is tyrannical and does not depend on the power of life, he is not very sure about which ancient Wood king he faces. You can win by playing against each other. But desperately, it's different. Who knows which Shenmu king still has what kind of whole cards? These 2 8 Tribulations realm are naturally the most powerful 2 in ancient Wood continent. Behind it is the courageous look. The title powers are generally the same level limit. The top 3, regardless of background or strength, are extraordinary. Master Star refining can be ranked in the top 5, which is not ordinary. After all, he is not the master of the universe. Thanks, Tusk, the strength is really strong. The star-refining star, who has the top 5 combat strengths of Guma continent, still leaked shocked eyes when he saw Jian Wushuang being besieged at this time. With pure perception, he could see that Jian Wushuang had an infinite power in his body. This was because his eyes were fused with a heavy treasure, otherwise Jian Wushuang would not be able to see through it. Infinite power, that is the yearning of many people. Jian Wushuang, an emperor, was besieged by a group of puppets of 300,000 supernatural powers, yet he was able to maintain his composure. Even Xing Xing couldn't help but marvel. I want to see how strong your limit is. With a little finger from the star refiner, a large number of puppets in the black secret room recovered again. Jian Wushuang in the secret room at this time, although still very calm, his strength did not weaken in any way. But the power of mind has already begun to decline. If the power of thought drops, his life will be weakened. The invisible sword in Jian Wu's hands flew out, transforming into a puppet surrounded by countless sword chi shuddering around. Senior, if you want to test it, it's better to do it in one step and save some supernatural powers for the younger generation. After all, I am just an emperor. Jian Wushuang attached his hands, calmly, but the last sentence was extremely loud. Actually, there is no certainty in my heart. With so many puppets, they have been besieging them, nowhere will he stand up to them. It's better to be more calm and talk directly with Witchcaster. He didn't believe the other party and couldn't see that he was just an emperor. The Lord of the 6 Tribulations realm universe can see it. In the 7 Tribulations realm, although the origin of the universe is missing, there should still be vision. Don't think of him as a catastrophe. The test of an emperor is almost enough. Why should it be so? Of course, he could not say that Fan Tianfeng avenged private revenge. In fact, Fan Tianfeng didn't have this plan either. It's just his strength that evoked some curiosity about refining stars. Jian Wushuang's voice just fell. In the silent darkness, a pair of huge red eyes lit up, much larger than those of the puppets. Then a face appeared. The puppets who were still preparing to attack Jian Wushuang stopped. Little guy, your mouth is as powerful as your strength. Regarding Jian Wushuang's little tactics just now, Lianxing was not only not angry, but rather admired, and it also meant that the seniors were optimistic about the reserve. Jian Wushuang hurriedly clasped his fists and saluted, and said, "The juniors don't dare." There is no need to be so restrictive. Since it is recommended by the young master, it is your own person. Lianxing laughed and said, "However, it is not so easy to want me to refine the sword blank for you." These words made Jian Wushuang twist his heart, but his expression remained unchanged. "Senior, please speak up if you need it." Lianxing said calmly, "You don't need to be nervous, I will refining sword blanks for you no matter what. But the blanks of the treasure of the universe are good or bad. Even if the young master recommends you to come, I agreed to this request, but nothing promised to refine the strongest sword blank for you, you understand? Junior knows it." Jian Wushuang said respectfully this time. "Sword blank? Of course he wants the strongest." Yu reading www.kanashu. Calm ordinary goods can't catch his eyes at all. Otherwise, it would not take such a great effort to ask Fan Tianfeng. If he could let the star refiner go all out to refine a sword blank that fits his own kendo, it would naturally be the best. Now that you understand, I'll just say it straight. I am very optimistic about you. Whether it is your strength or your character, you have the qualifications to become a top-level powerhouse. I can see it in the future 6 tribulations. This is a big talk. The Lord of the 6 Tribulations universe. Jian Wushuang is naturally very confident. But let others comment. Even if he is so good now, it's hard to come out of the emperor. Chapter 5766. But the tribulation realm is not the same as the emperor, just like the emperor and the Taoist. The emperor does not have any restrictions of heaven, nor any external pressure. But the robbery is different. Not only need to cross the catastrophe, but also need to maintain their own universe. He still doesn't quite understand the preservation of the universe. But crossing the robbery. He knew how cruel it was. Otherwise, the entire Gumu continent would not have so many scattered robberies. There are so many 7-star sects, and almost all of them still have 7 Tribulation Realm powerhouses. But the master of the universe in the 7 Tribulations realm couldn't get a single palm together. The first 5 calamities are actually easy to say, but after 6 tribulations, it was really too difficult. I don't know how many Tianjiao trapped. Although Jian Wushuang was confident, he also understood this. As for the evaluation of others, they are not as confident as him. It is already very high to be able to say that he has a chance for the 6 Tribulations realm with a power like refining stars. There are only 6 calamities in the entire Gumu continent. I'm afraid it will not exceed double digits. The star-refining eyes turned and continued. Let's do this. I have a puppet here, the peak of the 5 tribulations, but it needs a constant supply and demand of divine power. If it is injected with 1,000,000 divine power, it can reach the limit of half-step 6 tribulations. Force. This. Jian Wushuang was stunned for a moment, half a step in the 6 tribulations realm, with 1,000,000 supernatural powers. Both of these sounds, he is not an opponent. Although I am optimistic about you, I don't think you can burst with such strength. Lianxing knew that Jian Wushuang would be wrong and explained, I will inject 500,000 supernatural powers inside. If you defeat, you will get a heavenly rank sword blank. Although it is not precious to the Tribulation realm, there are no more than 5 heavenly rank sword blanks that can be refined from the outside world. Jian Wushuang listened carefully, and at the same time he had expectations in his heart. A puppet with 500,000 supernatural powers is not easy for him now, it is a bit arrogant. But defeat is not a problem at all. Only the increase in the power of the beast can be defeated. It's definitely not a problem. Sky-level sword blank. That is, the treasure of the heavenly universe in the future. Able to grow to the 7 tribulations realm. Most of the ambitious Tianjiao will seek the family to ask the caste master to refine the heavenly treasure slab and become the original magic weapon in their own universe. The grade of the cosmic treasure is not the same as the division of the ordinary treasure. Treasure, innate treasure, eternal treasure. These treasures are divided into ordinary, advanced, top, pinnacle, and perfection. But the treasure of the universe is different. The points are grade. The weakest is the treasure of the human-level universe. In one's own original universe, it can only be bred into the 3 tribulations realm level. It is also the weakest treasure of the universe. This is also because most of the tribulation realms cannot become the master of the universe. The treasure of the universe of the human rank is also the easiest to refine. Above the human level is the ground level. The treasures of the universe at the ground level can be bred into the 5 tribulations realm level. But to refining it, it requires a caster of rank 4 or above, which most people can't get. Of course, if you have enough universe crystals, you can also buy them in some shops. This is a treasure that can be obtained with money. Not too precious. Above the ground level is the sky level. The heavenly treasure of the universe cannot be bought with money. You also need to have background and contacts. The upper limit is the 7 tribulations realm. The pursuit of most people is the 7 tribulations realm. If it is said that in the ordinary period, smooth sailing into the immortal, holding aspirations. Want to reach the top. The emperor and the robbery might not be a big deal in their eyes. But on the way to the strong, there is no setback. Jian Wushuang asked himself whether it was all smooth sailing. He smiled bitterly and shook his head. Only after experiencing setbacks will it arouse one's own cognition. In mundane times, when things go well, I want to stand upright. Without goals, goals are infinite. But after waiting for the immortal queen, she might not even be able to maintain Dao Xan. In the end, the emperor is a hurdle. At that time, I will understand that it is not bad to be an emperor. Even if you become an emperor, when you need to work hard for the resources of cultivation, you need great courage. Divine power treasures, although common in Guyu time and space, it is not easy to raise divine power to emperor consummation. Even some family children need to do it by themselves. Family Tianjiao, that is also relying on his own potential, and perseverance to get the help of the family. Not every family child has an unlimited supply of resources. If you want to become the Lord of the universe, you need not only divine power, but also the realm of origin. The space is not perfect. How to master the universe. This is not a question of resources. You also need to look at your own talents, and you need to cultivate yourself. The family can't help. Most people along the way may stop at the emperor. The one who can become the lord of the tribulation realm and even the universe is not facing the vicissitudes of the world. I have smoothed my mind a long time ago. Becoming the seven tribulations realm may be the ultimate goal. The treasure of the heavenly universe. Jian Wushuang took a deep breath, and he was somewhat satisfied for a while. But I think of the Qishan temple, the primitive universe, and the hometown world from the mundane times. He was a little hesitant. The seven tribulations realm is a great goal for others, but for him, it is far from enough. Not only because of the upper limit, the most important thing is the blessing of the universe. The treasure of the universe can be said to be the treasure of the universe. That is the force that can draw its own universe. It's about future combat power. Must be the strongest. Above the heavens there are still gods. No one has touched the upper limit of the gods. The treasures of the eight tribulations realm universe are all gods. Many powerhouses believe that the upper limit of the rank is likely to be the treasure of the nine tribulations or even beyond the universe. Jian Wushuang thought of this, and he had some guesses in his heart. Although Guyu time and space, although stronger than Morwa time and space at the beginning, there is no time and space treasure. Otherwise, it is impossible not to know the existence of the treasure of time and space. The reason why Morwa time and space is the treasure of time and space is also because of the existence of extinction. From Bobby D, he knew that extinction came from the stars. The of Morwa time and space is probably brought about by extinction. The time and space treasures in it were probably all obtained from the starry sky by extinction. The treasure of time and space. Beyond the universe. In the time and space of the 9 great universities upstream, may also exist in those 3 eternal existences, possessing this kind of treasure. As for Guyu time and space, there is no high probability. Even if there is a top-notch existence like refining stars, they don't know the treasure of time and space. The Guantian chessboard in his body is a treasure of time and space. Now he has just figured out some eyebrows. Some of the original chess pieces contained in it are already against the sky, and now they have touched the generals. Just relying on the special characteristics of the generals, you will not lose to the beasts. This kind of heaven-defying treasure must be used with care in the future. Can't be discovered by anyone. Once discovered by some mighty power, it is a disaster. Chapter 5767. Jian Wushuang took a deep breath and kept calm and said, "Senior, a god-level sword blank, you should be able to refine it." He asked for a lot. The upper limit of the heavenly rank is not enough for him. If it is said that he can't even surpass the 7 tribulations realm, then it is better to die now. For him, the 7 tribulations realm could only barely keep himself. The threat of extinction is not that simple. He originally thought that the 7 tribulations realm could be used. But from the beginning to the present, after knowing the origin of extinction, he felt that what the other party wanted might not be so simple. Strength is naturally even more difficult. If extinction is just a half-step 7 tribulations realm powerhouse in Morwa time and space. Even if he was still the Lord of the universe, he wouldn't worry about it. With his strength, he doesn't need to be in the 7 tribulations realm, and the master of the 6 tribulations realm universe can easily settle the extinction. But the origin of the other party is too great. From the stars. That is a place that everyone yearns for, but can't get in. It's not easy to get out, and it's impossible to get in. He was in Guyu time and space. So far he has not found a record of the starry sky. Perhaps he is not strong enough now, seeing information about the starry sky. Or the powerhouse of the 9 great spacetimes cannot enter the starry sky. The starry sky is still a little far away to him. Right now, it is still a robbery. After hearing his words, Lian Xing raised his brows slightly, and his expression was a little surprised, but he was not too surprised. The sword blanks of the gods can be encountered and cannot be found. It is not related to the old man's casting method, but is related to the master of the sword blank. In short, it is very complicated. Jian Wushuang listened to the cloud and mist, wanted to ask, but was interrupted by the other party. You should defeat the puppet first. If you can defeat it, it will be increased in sequence. In the second theory, there are 2 puppets with 500,000 supernatural powers. In the third round, there are 4. If you can reach the 5th round, come again. Talking about the sword blank of the gods. After refining the star, he scattered the huge head. The secret room on the ground floor. The star-refining deity sits slantingly on a chair, with the corners of his eyes slightly narrowed. A crystal ball is floating in front of him, and the picture above is Jian Wushuang. This kid is really ambitious, god-level sword blank, really dare to think. Lian Xing shook his head. In his thoughts, I recalled the things about the gods. The complexity of refining is no less than that of creating a complete universe. The most important thing is that the price is too high. Too many treasures are needed. In his opinion, Jian Wushuang was an emperor and couldn't afford it at all. I can't let him produce materials by himself. To contribute, we must also produce materials. He wasn't Jian Wushuang's father, so he didn't make sense to do so. If Jian Wushuang can make it to the 5th round, he will consider it. Otherwise, even if he was optimistic, he would no longer help Jian Wushuang so much. In the endless years, there are too many juniors he is optimistic about. Jian Wushuang can rank in the top 3 at best. If it were among the emperors, Jian Wushuang might be the one he saw the most. But in the Lord of the Universe, it's different. At the beginning, he was optimistic about the Lord of the Universe in the 5 Tribulations realm. The talent can be said to be the best in the entire Guyu time and space. After 1 epoch of cultivation, he breaks through and becomes the Lord of the Universe. In just 10 epochs, he became the master of the 5 Tribulations realm universe. But later, the 6th calamity did not cross over. The first 5 calamities went too smoothly. In addition, the origin universe is extremely powerful, and its divine power is sufficient, and it can resist the catastrophe every time. By the time of the 5th calamity, the Tianjiao still felt able to resist, but was slapped severely by the heavenly Tao. Sometimes it's not good to go too far. Misfortune arises spontaneously. The robbery that grows in the bottom of my heart is the most terrifying. His eyes turned to the crystal ball, waiting for Jian Wushuang to erupt. Dark and dense indoor. Jian Wushuang held the sword in one hand. The invisible sword, cast by the power of the stars, is no less than the Jueyun sword. The 5th round. Jian Wushuang didn't have much confidence in his heart. The first round is won. Doubled every round. The emperor has 5 rounds and 16 puppets. Each 500,000 supernatural powers. It is equivalent to 16 5 Tribulation realm powerhouses. Although he has a lot of cards now. But it's just an emperor. Under normal circumstances, the emperor with 400,000 supernatural powers may have been the only one throughout the ages. No way, the greater the ability, the greater the responsibility. Fight. The power of the beast can make him 500,000 times the divine power. Now he hasn't researched super eternal changes. If it can combine the power of the starry sky with the divine power, that is, the origin and the divine body merge with each other, and this test is nothing. I knew it, he went to retreat for a while. Now that he hasn't improved the eternal changes, even if he is promoted to the peak state, he will be comparable to a practitioner with 550,000 times the power of divine power. Can pass the second round, but there may not be much chance later. In the first round of normality, the second round requires eternal changes to reach the peak state. In the third round, he probably had to get all his cards straight away. He still has a thought of the universe. There is also a starry sky catalog. These 2 are okay against practitioners, but they are of little use against puppets. One thought of the universe is okay, it can increase his own origin, but he can't suppress it, because it is not a practitioner, but a puppet. When calculating the combat power in the bottom of my heart, the puppet had already started to move. Jian Wushuang gritted his teeth and couldn't control that much. If it's a big deal, use Jiangjia again. 600,000 supernatural power to reach the limit. He didn't believe it. Every time, he broke through under the greatest pressure. This time, I hope he can break through. Jian Wushuang directly removed the invisible sword. We greeted him with bare hands. The simple collision of divine power shook the secret room with muffled noises. That puppet is different from the puppet here. It should be refined separately by refining stars. The appearance is also very strange. The whole body is smooth, without a trace of gaps, and the whole body is more symmetrical than the human race. The white and purple skin is extremely smooth. Jian Wushuang punched the puppet in the face, almost unsteady. His punch did not weaken the puppet's power, but the other's punch hit his abdomen, causing his body to quickly collapse. After all, he is still a practitioner. No, it hurts. Fortunately, everything is the same as he thought. The supernatural power of 500,000 is just right. He just wanted to test the puppet now. Next, it's time to exert strength. Jian Wushuang smiled at the puppet, palm deep, and firmly said, "Senior, I have to use 500,000 supernatural powers now." What? Jian Wushuang clenched his fists with both hands, the arrogance on instantly turned red, and his divine power increased by tens of thousands. 430,000. 460,000. 490,000. Seeing this scene, Lian Xing had a look of surprise in his eyes. At the same time, he also saw the beast gods on Jian Wushuang's body. See through at a glance. A complete beast soldier. A pair of scarlet wings, wrapped in a black inner armor. To the left of the inner armor is a red left arm. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.